Is there anything there now? Ah, okay. I don't even know why I have so much problem with this. Every time. Anyway, but as I was saying, little recap. Steven Crowder did leave the Blaze. He went kind of looking for a little bit of independent stuff, or not independent, but looking for kind of more deals from other people per se. And well, he wound up getting an offer. Now, this is just an offer from Daily Wire. That threw me off completely. I'm sorry, but he just got an offer from the Daily Wire, and he saw a lot of terms in there that were just kind of a lot of bullshit. Like literally from the contract, it said you'll have to produce the show with as good a quality or better as you normally do. We're going to give you $12.5 million a year. Out of that, you got to use that to produce your own show. We own all the rights to your social medias for the term, but we get to monetize forever on any content, even after you leave, because it doesn't say for the term. It says we own all the rights in perpetuity for all of this. And let's see what else was in there. Oh, if anything happens, you were going to be doxxed this, and we'll take this from you and that from you from the production budget of his show. But mind you, he still has to bring the same quality. And Crowder didn't out anybody at all. He's just like, these contracts have to stop because this is some bullshit. Number one, straight off top, this is some bullshit. And he's correct in everything that he was saying in there. He's correct. So the Daily Wire goes out and they out themselves on it. I mean, they straight up did. They out themselves on it. And it's disgusting what the Daily Wire has tried to do with it, and has become a serious problem. But yeah, we went through, of course, Ben Shapiro literally laid out the groundwork, made his case for him, and then tried to walk it back, even though he kind of screwed all of that up in every single bit of the way. But yeah, we also went through Candace Owens's rants. Hold on one second. Oh, so you're just gonna have problems on me, huh? But we also went through Candace Owens' rants where she literally called people like you stupid for understanding and looking at the contract for what it really was. So we're going to watch, at least for the segment from the Daily Wire controversy and maybe some super chats, we're going to watch into, the Timcast IRL stream here. It's on Crowder's stream as well, and it's on Crowder's channel as well. But I'm actually going to give him a view for that one, so we'll be using Crowder to kind of give the view for that. Let's see. So yeah, let's see. We will go with share screen, share audio. It's going a little bit early. For some reason for Tim, it's going to be like 15 minutes early. Usually he starts at 7 o'clock, but I just caught it, and he's starting 15 minutes early, I guess, because Crowder's got things to do or whatever. It doesn't matter. But we'll be going through some of this. There may be some other people that pop up into the chat or pop up into here as well. If they feel like it, it's okay. It's cool. It's whatever with that. But I've been kind of going over this, and I've been covering this. Shit, I spent in 2 different streams. I have spent 9 hours talking about this altogether. Multiple times, actually arguing with people about this. No, because he's this, he's that, he's just a bitch, and he's this. And no, you motherfuckers don't understand. They taking everything from that man. They trying to take everything from him, lock him down into this contract, so when it's done, he's got nothing. and he must play ball with all the censorship. He must not say things like Gerald citing the CDC, and because it went against the WHO recommendations, the WHO recommendations, well, he gets a strike. And now he takes production, he gets a hit to his production value, which he has to bring as good a quality or better. Or Carrie Lake, who was questioning the primary that she won. Now he takes a hit. It must be as good or better. And we're going to take the money away from you. So you're not going to be able to do that. Basically setting it up to where he's going to break his contract no matter what. We're going to take this money away from you. We're going to take that away from you. And it's a fair deal because we get to monetize everything. We get to make all this money off the back end. You don't see a dime of it. Not to mention the fact that all the ad revenue that all the revenue that you would bring in through your mug club, well, we'll pay you $12.5 million a year out of that while we make bank off of you. And all of that we get to keep. Because in the contract, it doesn't say we get to return it other than your social media. That's it. And every other bit of the clause stipulations and everything, it doesn't say you get it back when the contract is done. You get it back. No. It says they get to keep it. 100%. Now you can sit there and say, oh, well, he was supposed to argue with them. He was supposed to come back with he did. He came back with an offer. He says, no. This is not happening. Your bullshit offer is not happening in any way. Here's what I want. And Daily Wire didn't come back with a counter offer, even though Jeremy Boring's like, well, this is how negotiations work. You broke that, dude. You literally broke that. And then you want to say, oh, I thought we were friends. Really? Well, you kicked the man in the fucking nuts, try to take everything from him, and you want to call him a friend because well, first of all, you outed yourself, but he brought up the contract? He made everybody aware of what the contract was, and you want to call that man friend? What the fuck is wrong with you? Number one. Number two, the fact that you tried to take everything from him, and then you said, nah, go fuck yourself when he came back and said this, I'm taking all this back because I'm a bigger name than you. I rival your entire company. I want all my shit. I'm going to keep all my shit. No, we're just go fuck yourself. Deal off. Whatever. Yeah. So he's just like, all right, fuck it. I'm going to do something about this shit. So that's where it stands as far as that goes. Now people do want to bring up, oh, well, he registered the domain name stopbigcon.com back in mid-December. Keep in mind, Jeremy walked away from the table and told him to go fuck himself in November. They gave him the offer early October. Crowder said early November, no, this is some bullshit. Here's what I want. Jeremy did not reply past the point of, the terms are unacceptable. Didn't try to come back with it, even with an offer, a different counter offer. He just said, fuck it, I'm done. So I don't blame Crowder in any way for any of this. And I'm not going to sit here and make it some kind of big thing of the website and everything and recording the phone call. Go fuck yourself. He's not a friend. He's not. Because if he gonna pull that shit, nope. Sorry. I'm not gonna sit here and play games with this shit at all anymore. It's gotten to be incredibly dumb. And Jeremy fucked himself by recording all that and trying to justify that shit ass offer. And then after that, sending his attack dogs, every single one of them, after Crowder. Because Crowder didn't agree with their bullshit terms right off the bat. So that's where we sit with all this. We still got about 12 minutes before they go live. And just kind of wanted to catch up with everything here on that. So that's where we sit. Some of the stipulations were, if you get demonetized from any platform, it's like 20% from YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, things like that. Facebook, if we lose this revenue, we're taking away from you, even though we're making shit ton at the very beginning from your Mug Club subscribers. Doesn't matter about any of that. None of that matters. Okay. We're just going to dock your production budget and make sure you break your contract because you must produce the same quality or better. And like I've said before, how would you guys feel watching Crowder if there were no Landau? If there were no Gerald? If there were no Tokenawan pushing buttons and making stupid comments once in a while? If there were nobody back there actually pushing the buttons and he were to do his show kind of like me, would you guys watch anymore? I mean, he does damn good work, but if the production quality went down, it would hurt his business. And it is a business because he does employ almost 30 people. So don't sit there and try that. Well, he doesn't know anything about business. This motherfucker's been doing this for a long time. Longer than Daily Wire has existed. Stop with that stupid ass argument. It's a moot fucking point with any of this. I'm done playing games with stupid ass people who just want to, who don't even know. Well, you don't know about business. I do contracts and I know a lot about contracts. Bullshit. Motherfucker, you scrubbing toilets in a fucking school or a gas station. You fucking ringing up people at McDonald's. You ain't shit. You don't know this. Supposedly, every person that comments on this is somehow a contract expert. I'm done with y'all. I seriously am. I'm done with you retarded ass people running around thinking you will understand any of this, but can't understand the basics of what the dude's talking about. There's no point in you even trying to chime in when you can't even understand the fact that he loses his revenue for the production, and in the contract says you must keep the same quality of production or higher at your cost out of the money we give you and make bank off you in the back end. If you can't even understand that, don't talk about it. But of course, everybody's an expert on the internet, so they do their thing, right? They want to argue about it. Fine. I got a deeper connection with this than damn near everybody does, except for the people that work with these companies. That's the only further deeper connection that you could have. So I'm not going to sit here and play games with y'all. I'm not going to sit here and let y'all just kind of run your mouth about the whole thing because you don't know what you're talking about. Straight up, you don't. And it is completely 100% obvious you don't. I'm going to bring something up here on my phone real quick. I got something else I need to kind of watch at the same time. I do apologize. I was supposed to have all this set up first, but I caught in at the very end. He was starting early, and I was just like, oh shit, okay. Let's go a little bit early in this, so I'm not fully prepared for anything, like always. But yeah, we still got about 7.5 minutes. I do want to, while we are sitting here with this, I do want to. Oh yeah, I just want to show a little bit of what I'm talking about here, and Why is it taking forever for fucking shit to load
Our friend
today?
Steven Crowder has launched a new initiative called
weird.
Stop Big Con. And in the video announcing the launch of the project, he talked about leaving the blaze and all the different offers that he fielded from other conservative organizations and what he thought were the real problems with those offers. And that's led a lot of people to speculate about whether or not the Daily Wire is one of the Texas
non-binding term sheet, blah, 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 blah. Just ramble on forever. See, $50 million. Now, Crowder said nothing about the $50 million. He just went into some of the terms and some of the punishment from it all. Okay. $50 million is what you're going to pay you over 4 years. Or $50 million divided by 4 is 12 and a half a year. Now, it costs Crowder about roughly $10 million to produce a show a year. Let's see. Crowder will bear the burden of production, including all costs associated therewithin, on all of the content contemplated herein, except on the quarterly and annually content contemplated below. The quality of production will be as good or better than his current existing quality. Okay, so you're taking away the funds for him to actually do something to keep the quality above, as good or above what he's already done. So how is he supposed to how's he supposed to stay true to this contract when in the third section of your first clause you've already set it up for him to be breaking that? Daily Wire will have all exclusive rights to realize revenue in connection with all of Crowder's content and brand. Where does it say until the contract ends? Where does it say that? Because it doesn't. Now, I'm going to have a cigarette because I'm going to go through all of this in the next like five minutes. But it doesn't say that they'll give it all back. They have all exclusive rights in perpetuity because it doesn't say by the end of the contract. Now, that could have been left out. Bitch, you're sitting there paying lawyers to make this up all the time, and they somehow leave that out multiple times? You need to fire your lawyers and get some new ones. Crowder would deliver a 1.5 hour Louder with Crowder audio video show for all quality and kind, consistent with the daily show he currently produces 4 days a week, 192 original episodes, including all ad reads and promotions as requested by the Daily Wire. Now, he only does one promotion. It's not an ad read, it's a promotion, and it's usually at the very beginning of his videos. But yet, doesn't even state how many they want, but let's say 3 to 5. Get your fucking stupid ass off the damn screen. What did I just fucking say? You dumb asshole.
Still do that same kind of concept on Rumble, and at least 30 minutes inside.
Okay. These episodes are to be filmed in studio daily, Monday through Thursday. You can't sit there and tell that man anything like that. You can't. He's bigger than you. He rivals your entire company. At least 1 hour outside the paywall, 30 minutes in Daily Wire plus paywall, which is what he does with the Mug Club members anyway. So that's nothing different. One daily, this is their quarterly, one major Daily Wire promo video and photo shoot coordinated by Daily Wire, anticipated to be a full day separate from other content shoots. So you're telling this man he must work more for your company just by being affiliated with you and bringing you massive revenue. You must do more for us for signing a piece of paper. Even the dude's look even pisses me off. What the
That's
fuck?
like a stand-up comedy special. And that Stephen would do one feature length
Okay, one feature-length entertainment special a year because we want you to do more. Okay, it's whatever. We want you to do more for us, and we'll give you a little bit. Let's see, what is it? Stand-up comedy for half-hour episodes. The same Daily Wire will produce at a minimum production budget of $500,000. That's all they're going to provide. So if it runs into that, Steven now has to eat that cost. No, I'm sorry about that. Minimum production budget. So they're only going to put 500. They're going to put at least 500 into it. But anymore, it doesn't say at all. So he could potentially have to eat that cost because that's not in the clause. Or up to 10 episodes of a scripted Daily Wire Plus series. Daily Wire will produce a minimum production budget of $250,000 per episode. Okay, so you do one stand-up comedy special for the half-hour episode for us for a year, or you must show up on 10 other episodes from somebody else. One feature-length political special, reasonable promotion of the same. Political specials may include, in Daily Wire's discretion, consulted a Crowder, feature documentary, or half-hour episode of the same, with a budget of $1.25 million, or up to 10 episodes. Same stipulation, just something else. You need to do entertainment and political on top of everything that you do, running your business, paying for everything, doing everything. Everything must run off the top of you. Now, I'm not going to be able to go through all of this because this should be beginning very soon. Are we hitting it? Let's see if it's already running. Oh, so they pushed that back. Why does his say 6:45 and Tim's showing 7:00? So I may have time to go through all this. But I just hate the way this Weasley little bastard sits here and says, yeah, I'm going to screw him over, but here's why it's a good thing that I'm screwing him over and I'm the victim. Daily Wire and Crowder may mutually agree to create additional content not currently contemplated above. In the event of such agreement, the nature of the content and the fact that this is additional, subject to the paragraph, may be confirmed in writing. Crowder will be paid $15,000 per shoot day for such additional content. So if you agree to do something, which, let's just be honest, they force people to do shit. But if you agree to it, we'll pay you $15,000 per shoot. Now, this weaselly little bastard goes, well, this is going to be stuff that the days he's already filming, so we're just going to give him a little bit extra. Some of the days he actually has to do his show, run his business and everything like that. Now he must do a little bit extra more for you, and you only pay him $15,000 for it. The fuck is wrong with you? Number one. Number two, go fuck yourself. This dude's bigger than you. He rivals your entire company. He's the biggest fucking voice on the right as it stands. Daily Wire will have the exclusive right to sell ads on Crowder content on all platforms, channels, websites, apps, widgets, pages, and list owned, brand, or controlled by Daily Wire, and on any Crowder owned or controlled social channels, emails, lists, websites, etc., including Louder with Crowder website. Remuneration for such as ads is included in the fee. Where does that say you get any of that back at the end of the contract? So if he were to take this deal, they'd own his shit outright forever. It doesn't say at the end of contract in any of these, except for like one spot where it says that. It doesn't say that. He owns. Daily Wire would own Louder with Crowder and anything related to Steven Crowder for the rest of Crowder's life and beyond, except for his social media, which is the only thing in there. Failure to Daily Wire will not have the right to sell ads on behalf of the companies for which Crowder himself owns more than 5% equity or direct competitor without Crowder's approval. Basically, look, we don't have right to sell ads on your own shit, your own company, your own whatever you manage, but everything else, whatever is under your brand, but anything else, yeah, we have the right to. Failure to read all ads, all requested ads or promos in any piece of content will constitute a failure of such, or constitute a failure to deliver such content, but will not prevent Daily Wire from releasing and monetizing the content. So, if you don't read the 3, 4, 5 ads we throw at you per episode, we're going to ding you for it, but the content will still be there. We're just going to ding you for it. By the way, there's a little stipulation in here where they say, oh, well, he can deny 10% of the ads. Okay. So if I throw 10 ad reads at you a week, you can only deny 1. So you go from promoting things that you like, promoting things that you agree with, promoting things that you actually care about, into promoting whatever we want you to. We're going to use you to make your people, the people that have followed you for years, the people that actually trust you on things, we're going to make your people potentially buy established titles when that was a thing. Okay. Let's just use you in every bit of it. Daily Wire will own all content contemplated to be created herein, and will own all Daily Wire created channels, brands, and created by Daily Wire during the term. To be clear, Daily Wire can exploit those channels, brands, and content in perpetuity at its sole discretion. Okay, so I agree with this. And will own Daily Wire created channels and brands created by Daily Wire during the term. Okay, so in the 4 years that you were available, anything that we create, we have full control over. And for the rest of your life, for the rest of the company's life, we can exploit. Fair enough. You created it. It's yours. That's fine. Yeah, that's the same one. Daily Wire will have the right to adapt and monetize anything Crowder says or writes on his podcast, social media, etc., both Daily Wire owned and Crowder's personal channels, books, or media hits for Daily Wire articles, free or subscription, marketing and promotion, social media posts, merch, or newsletters with no additional approval required for Crowder. Doesn't say that gets to end when your contract ends. So let's say he does this 4 years later, he goes off and does his own thing. They're making money off everything this man does. Any merch that he puts out, anything else, they own. They monetize. They take credit for. They have everything in perpetuity because it doesn't say at the end of the contract, you get all the rights back. So if he writes himself a book, they own everything. They take all the revenue from that. 6 years from now, he writes that book. They take all that revenue. It's a massive hit. Makes millions and millions and millions upon dollars. They get all that in perpetuity because it doesn't say at the end of the contract. Daily Wire will maintain the exclusive right to create and sell Crowder and Crowder content-based merchandise. All remuneration for the Daily Wire's license and exploitation of these rights is included in the fee. So basically what they're saying is included in the fee. Like he said, you're leasing the contract, but you're getting ownership. You're giving me lease price, but you take full ownership. And that's what's happening, because where does it say? You get it all back at the end of the contract. Daily Wire will maintain the exclusive right to manage, grow, and monetize all Crowder email lists during the term. All remuneration. Again, the same problem is why he can't say, I can bring this many people from day one, because Blaze didn't give him the list, because Blaze had the same stipulation with that. And now they want to take that from him as well. And anything after the contract, they still have the rights to, because where in the contract does it say you get it back once our deal is done? Daily Wire will have the exclusive right to manage, curate, and monetize Crowder's official Facebook, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Snapchat, Rumble, and other social media accounts, excluding Crowder's existing personal Twitter and Instagram accounts during the term. That's the only part that says during the contract. So basically, we have full control over every bit of social media except for your personal Twitter and Instagram. We make all your money. Everything that you do, we have full control over. We can put stuff on there that isn't even related to you in any way. We can put Ben Shapiro on yours and make money off that. We can throw Candace Owens on there and make money off that. We can throw Jordan Peterson on there and make money off that. You don't get shit. But at least during this, you get it back at the end of your term. Where was this? Daily Wire will have all the perpetual rights, exclusive rights to create, own, manage, curate, and monetize all social media accounts. It's the same shit. Okay. So we're right back there. Total exclusivity for all kinds of content in all media throughout the term. I do not agree with this. Okay, anything related to the show that you are under the banner for, yes, that's fine. But if the dude just wanted to sit there and create an account to show his inner life, he can't do that. Not without them making money off the back end and approving it and saying, you can do this. And they own it throughout the term. If Crowder fails for any reason to deliver 192 episodes daily, including all ad reads and Daily Wire and affiliate company promo reads, approved and deemed satisfactory by the company, not by Crowder, by the company, $100,000 reduction per instance. So if he was given 3 ads to read and he don't read 2 of those ads, that's $200,000 taken just because he didn't read 2 of those ads that he doesn't want to throw at you. He doesn't want to try to get you to buy something because he actually fucking cares about you and your dollar. But because he doesn't want to read them, now he takes $200,000 hit from his production budget because he doesn't agree with it. For clarity, anytime Crowder misses a single episode of the daily content without written Daily Wire approval, the fee will be reduced by $100,000. So his wife had her life was literally put on the line a few times when she was pregnant with his twins. So it's either you go work to not miss out on money, or while you're working, your wife dies or could die, and your kids. And if you don't work, well, we're going to take $100,000 from you. Now, later on, there is this pro rata clause in there, but they're still taking money from him. It's just a reduced fee of money. Crowder fails to deliver monthly content in any month or any of the quarterly content in any quarter, including in any and all ad reads and Daily Wire affiliate company promo reads approved and deemed satisfactory by the company, not by him, $250,000 reduction per instance. So if he doesn't do any of their extra shit on the side, they reduce by $250,000 every time he doesn't do it. So in 1 year, he misses all four for whatever reason. He doesn't want to do it. I'm not going to say he doesn't want to do it. He can't do it for whatever reason. He misses all four quarterly. Well, there's $1 million out of the budget. The monthly things, if he doesn't do the monthly ones, $1.2 million for every instance, monthly, quarterly, and annually. Okay. So this motherfucker runs an actual company, does his show, produces everything. He pays these people. He's got to keep up with the HR and the ads and the promos and everything like that. He has to do all of this himself, and you want this dude to do more for you. And if he doesn't, well, then you take away from the production budget that he has to use to produce the same quality or better by your terms here. Here we go. If Crowder is boycotted or dropped by more than 50% of his extant advertising partners, to go, let this be known. What? Fuck did he just say? Oh. And the company is not able to replace them within 90 days, and the fee will be reduced by 25% until such time as ad revenue has been restored for a period of 90 days. So basically, if he gets boycotted and loses his shit for more than 90 days, $12.5 million gets reduced by what? 125 million. Because they lose money that they're making ass loads off of in the back end anyway. Production value drops, therefore breaking the terms of the contract because he can't keep paying for his show. Any of the major app forums, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or anything, issues a content strike, such as the Crowder content, cannot be monetized on such platform, and the company is not able to resolve the issue within 90 days, then the fee will be reduced by 25% from that point forward. So if he gets something struck and they can't figure it out and get it taken off, which, mind you, let me ask you a question. Daily Wire says, oh, we get demonetized and we get strikes all the time. Well, then how do you continue to keep getting your shit back time and time and time and time and time again? How do you get it back every time? If you're not doing some shady back-end dealings with YouTube and shit like that, how do you get it back repeatedly? Obvious question, honest question. Something that needs to be answered. But if you can't do that for him within 90 days, well, $3.25 million off of that 12.5 we give you. Get your weaselly stupid face off of here. If Crowder content cannot be released on any of the major platforms, YouTube, Facebook, whatever, because of the Crowder content being banned from YouTube, let me check.
The vlog, it tells from the world. And we're going to have an uncensored members only after this show as well, which will be up around 11 or so p.m. We record that after we wrap the live portion. So if you want to check out the uncensored version, go to...
Let me bring this back up again. Make sure we have this.
You joining us today?
Hey guys, today I'm wearing my Make America Florida shirt, which you could get on thebestpoliticalshirts.com because I'm moving to Florida tomorrow.
I started
Sorry,
the
guys,
intro.
Daily
Stop.
Wire gave me a
Missed
deal.
the
I
intro,
couldn't
but whatever.
refuse. I'm leaving. No, I'm joking. I'm kidding.
I thought you were going to say to Arizona because Carrie Lake.
No. I'm fiercely independent. I just launched a new business called I'mTheRealOG.com. So if you're in Florida, want to link up with me and want to check out my new business, I'mTheRealOG.com. Check it out if you're a real OG.
I can't believe you got that domain.
I know.
You said it was $5. The Real OG?
Really?
The Real OG. No, I'm the Real OG.com.
I'm surprised it's not a pot shop.
The Real OG.com is like a spam website, so don't go on that one. It like hacks people's computers.
Oh my gosh.
Don't go on that one. I'm the Real OG.com.
We got Ian hanging
So,
out.
by the way, can I say one thing, by the way?
Before we do, we should turn Steven's mic up a little bit.
Okay, I was going to say, because you're coming in a little bit hot in my ears, and when you were saying OG, which I'm really happy to hear, but it was loud.
So do you want to maybe bring Steven's headset down a little and his mic
I
up a
apologize.
little?
And one thing, which camera am I talking into there?
That
People who are watching the live stream on my YouTube channel or Rumble, it's only going to be the first 20 minutes. There's really no other way to reach you, like with a post, and then just head over to Timcast IRL, right?
YouTube.com/Timcast IRL.
Perfect. So
And you can
all
add
of you
us-
head over there now if you can, but in 20 minutes, it's not going to be here.
Or Timcast.com. We just have it embedded on the front.
Oh,
So
awesome.
that's
Well,
easier.
I'm glad you guys are here. The drama, personal stuff, I'm not really interested in as much as the contracts themselves. I've been thinking about this since 2006, 7, 8. Like, I'm similar to you, Steven,
You
making
helped
internet
create,
videos.
can I say?
Maker Studios,
Maker,
yeah.
yeah.
I was only verbally, we would hang out, me and Ben Donovan and Dan Zapinski up in a hotel room talking about creating a union for web actors.
Right.
And it's evolved into now, it never really happened. And now I think there's a technical solution and we don't need to make paperwork necessarily. Because I mean, I don't like trusting
I
people
will
with
admit,
paperwork anyway,
Ian's
personally.
Yeah,
a
my
little
problem
bit
so much
weird with all this
paper
shit,
itself.
but he has been rolling some good
You don't like
fucking
it?
No, my
good
problem
points
isn't so much
out
with
here
papers, but
lately.
what's printed on the paper.
Right.
Tends
Yeah.
to be
the issue.
No, but I remember I was with Maker, and then it kind of morphed into something where, the whole idea, right, was they were going to help protect you, get better advertising rates. And then, I said some things like, hey, we can't be repping you anymore. They turned into Studio something. I think they got purchased
Was
by
it Studio
Disney.
71?
Was that what it was? There were a couple of them, right, that were
Yeah.
out there. There was like Collab Studios. Was that the one that was called? I don't know.
We'll get into all that. I want to make sure everybody else Kellen's here.
What's up, everybody? It's Kellen filling in for Serge. Let's get started, guys.
Yeah, so Serge misses flight, I guess, but we're all here and we're stringing it together with duct tape. And
Kellen's not duct tape. Okay.
No, he's good. Yeah, he's more
Oh,
like
Gerald's there
that's-
too. Hell yeah!
It's that metallic airline tape.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
like
yeah,
people
yeah.
see it and they get scared. It's duct
Telling you,
tape, but
sack
don't worry.
of dog crap.
I'll take
Good duct tape. You even got double sided,
Yeah.
bitch.
but I got
Dollar store duct
the fancy airline duct
You
tape.
did.
I'll take it.
Reflective.
All right, let's
Kroger brand duct tape.
let's jump.
Equate. Go ahead.
Let's jump into this first story. We have this stopbigcon.com.
Yeah.
Louder with Crowder, Stop BigCon, Stay in Mug Club, or join a new. Enter your email below. So let's get started and talk about from the beginning.
Mhm.
You, most people are familiar with the story.
Yeah.
I want to make sure as we get this started, I'll make this. I want to make sure there's important contextual understanding. People have asked why it's so important that, and why is everybody interested in the story? Why have we talked about it so much? First, I will say, well, I'm biased. I worked for big corporations. I've run my own company. I have this passion for how the media companies operate, how I operate my media company, my vision for the future. And I know so much about this. It's something I care about. When I hear about it, I'm just driven to want to understand more, talk about it, share these ideas. But it's more than just that. I just want to make sure that my bias is clear. It's that I, for one, have taken issue with the establishment media, the traditional media systems, how they operate with contracts. And so trying to build something different, I see what Crowder announced and what he's talking about, and I ideologically agree. So this conversation could change the shape of how media moves forward as the corporate media system is dying, firing people, laying people off, and an independent ecosystem is emerging with these networks. Which form is it going to take? It could go completely corporate, it could go completely independent, it could be a mix of both. But this is a conversation that is extremely important moving forward. So we're hanging out with Steven Crowder and Gerald, of course, to talk about all
understands
this.
the business side more. I don't really take care of the finances as much. But
What's the story here? What's the story?
Well, first off, let me set something up off the bat. I want to make sure that everyone here knows. Like, I know that you guys have made very clear that you're monetized on YouTube because you believe that you can fight against big tech by sort of operating to some degree within the rules, but you've been very transparent about it. And so I don't want you to think that that is at all the same as what I have a problem with. And I mean, we can go back to a few things. Look, it really comes down to what's right. It really comes down to what the truth is. And this is something that's been a long time coming. Gerald actually came on as CEO because we're being batted around so long. This is years and years in the making. I get the point with corporate media. The issue that I have with many in the conservative side of this sphere is the fundamental misleading and dishonesty. That's what I have a problem with. And you see that here as this story took place.
Yeah.
Kind of started right where we released this video. We didn't, and it was just by design, didn't name names because there could be a litany of contracts that are similar to this. A lot of them are often verbal offers.
We mentioned it could have been Fox News for all anyone knew, and they're the corporate monolith.
There's about 4 or 5. I would say we have 4 or 5 offers, and then there are other investors who come into the space who just want to dump in a whole bunch of money. Daily Wire here outed themselves, and I understand that people are saying, well, people knew who it was. Well, that's because some of the people who were under those contracts said, yeah, I recognize those contracts. And Candace said on this show, I recognize the terms from my contract. Here's the thing. I said, this is wrong. Penalizing conservatives, and I believe this to my absolute core, penalizing conservatives on behalf of big tech while taking money from people who are paying you, investing in you to fight big tech. That is what they're investing in. That is what Mug Club is investing in. That's what subscribers are investing in. While simultaneously penalizing conservatives is fundamentally wrong. I had that conversation, said, look, just please give me your word. You're not going to be doing this with other people who, as you well know, when you start in this industry, don't know better. Immediately after that, right, the conversation was, Crowder is making a big deal as a dick about money, right? Basketball money. $50 million a year was the implication, which is not true. People aren't saying that now. That's not what people have a problem with. What people have a problem with, I understand, is the idea of a phone call. And now the narrative has shifted to betrayal of a friend. That's what people want to say. I say last straw. I say this is something that I've watched, experienced for years, tried to give every possible out to do the right thing, and have tried to do the right thing in the way that we run our own business. Saw the gaslighting, the bully tactics that take place behind the scenes of other creators, and knew it wouldn't be myself. So now the narrative shifts to how could you record a phone call, betray a friend? Well, hold on a second. It was just about money. This is just business. And now it's, hey, we're really good friends. Well, which is it? I mean, you kind of have to pick a lane, right?
Yes.
Are we good friends, or are you sending out a boilerplate contract that you demand of everybody according to what they say? They have 110%.
The whole thing changed
on behalf of big
as soon as
tech.
Boring
realized that it's dishonest. It's a tactic of the left.
Himself.
It's a tactic, the same kind of tactic that you see from the left, the gaslighting. Where let me ask you this: if someone came out,
real quick,
yeah,
I just want to clarify. You said 110% penalty.
Yeah, you can see the contract right there. If you add them all up,
so
because there's boycott penalty,
or what?
Yeah.
It's a fair point.
Yeah. And this is the issue. I made it clear it wasn't about me. It's about other people. It's about this being the fundamental practice. And by the way, it's not just Daily Wire, to be clear. This happens in this incestuous sphere across the board. What would you do? This is my question.
Real quick, let me ask. My concern is, if people aren't familiar with the total context, you leave the Blaze, or in the process of you're fielding offers, you receive a contract,
a term sheet, not a contract,
yes,
which people are semantically
a predecessor to a contract, but
which is basically the terms they're offering for a contract.
Right.
Some people have argued, but the point is, they basically said you will be penalized 25% if you get a strike.
No, if you're demonetized.
Then
another 20% if there's a strike. Then another 20%, I don't remember the numbers for Facebook, for Spotify, but there's also another penalty if your sponsors get boycotted. There's also another penalty if you don't agree to 10%, if you deny 10% of the sponsors, which is probably like you, we probably accept 1 out of 5 sponsors. But let me just kind of go through this timeline really quickly.
For people who are trying to understand what's going on, it's basically the contract you received specifically outlined
term sheet.
The term sheet you received.
I don't know if it matters.
Said YouTube.
You don't put something in a term sheet that you don't want in a contract.
Right.
Nope.
It said YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and Facebook.
Yeah.
Specifically, if these big tech companies are upset with you, we dock your pay.
Yes.
That's an important distinction.
Hold on. And not even dock his pay. I want to be very clear here. This is a production house. This is our budget that gets docked. Steven is not just taking, this is not basketball where you pay Kyrie Irving to go out and shoot hoops, right?
Sure.
You're paying an entire team of people to produce.
Before we get to that, like the finance.
Yeah. Let's go through the time.
Let me ask you this. If someone publicly was going, and by the way, I'm not going to be doing the personal stuff. I'm not going to be coming in here calling anybody a bitch, right? Sending out hatchet people. I understand why Candace was mad. Honestly, I understand why she was mad. I'd probably be mad too. So I don't think it gives you an excuse to go and talk the way like every girl does who gets their husband into a fight at a bar. But I understand why she was upset. If you had the ability, if someone's going out saying, hey, you're a difficult person who only cares about the money, and that you're a bitch, and you had the opportunity to clear it in because it was verifiably untrue, which now no one is arguing. would you do it? How else would people switch from it was about a $50 million salary to recording a phone call? Do we allow it when James O'Keefe does it? Is it only when corruption is on the side of the left? And here's the issue: is I'll tell you who this hurts. The dishonesty. I'm not just saying Daily Wire. This is about the entire movement as a whole. There are a lot of practices that go on, and it hurts the sponsors, hurts the creators, hurts the viewers, hurts the investors. And by investors with us, it's entirely Mug Club. It's people who pay to subscribe. We don't make a dime off of YouTube. We haven't for many years. And it hurts if you believe what we say we believe, the movement in the country as a whole. So that right there, is fundamentally and the gaslighting still keeps taking place. Candace Owens on this show said, hey, we all follow the same guidelines, right? We all follow, Crowder does too. That's verifiably false. Now, so you can publicly audit this. We've had 4 strikes, right, in the last, since May, I think, 2021 to October 2022. One was the Mekhi Bryant. One was a sketch with Alex Jones. That one's guilty. Yep. One was as charged. One was him quoting the CDC. And by the way, none of this will get you in trouble because you can say this now. Him quoting the CDC.
I did, yeah.
Bringing up the CDC numbers on flu deaths for children versus COVID. And we were saying this is interesting science, right? That COVID kills more senior citizens, but for some reason it's significantly less lethal to young people, to infants. That science is accepted now, so you won't get a strike. But that was one of the strikes. The other was when we had Carrie Lake on in a gubernatorial election. 4. How many have taken place from Daily Wire? You guys, 0. Now, here's the thing. I'm not saying it's a badge of honor. I'm not saying that it's a badge of honor to be suspended. If they came out and said, look, we demand, as Jeremy said in his 55-minute video, we demand that all of our creators follow these rules that YouTube and Facebook set through punitive practices and mandating of our creators to do so. And Crowder's a little bit more of a rebel. You know what? He's been banned for
You may have to mute your mic. I'm hearing something from you.
That's not a problem. The problem
hold on.
is that we all follow the same rules because so that's all publicly verifiable.
Unmute when you guys
now, I could tell you guys that behind the scenes had many conversations with senior YouTube executives who say, we might be able to get you remonetized if you kind of play ball like these guys, Daily Wire, and insert other people here. I could tell you that, but would you believe me? Would I have to provide receipts? I could tell you that takes place. That hurts the creators out there who end up, hitting a glass ceiling that is set the sandbox that is mandated their creators. The same thing
Ben Shapiro was saying, I rallied for Facebook,
let me ask you,
against,
what does that mean,
for YouTube to put him back. That's what he was talking about.
Paraphrasing. Titles, subjects, not talk about this subject or not talk about it in this way.
Yeah.
Maybe soften, don't use these words, maybe change this a little bit. This happens a lot right behind the scenes, and that makes it impossible for independent content creators. The same thing happens, by the way. So that's gaslighting that you see right there. We all follow the same rules. It was about money, then it's about a phone call with sponsors. Look.
But if I could ask you, did YouTube reach out to you and say, hey, do you want to play ball with us?
We have conversations all the time with YouTube.
Got it.
Matter of fact, I can tell you that, here's the thing. I'm not going to be providing receipts to people who don't want to be involved, right? Yeah. There's a difference between single party consent state and wiretapping. You don't rope people in who are victims, but if it's an entity that you believe is predatory, that's the difference. There are good people at YouTube. Yeah. There are some good people there who but their hands are tied. And guess what? Everyone else's hands are tied. If you say, hey, we're all trying to fight this system that exists, but you're not. You're mandating that you exist within the system. Only one person is saying, hey, you know what? If you want to be monetized and you don't, that's fine. And one is saying, you have to fit into this box.
Very important context to this is obviously, after you put out the first video, I've talked to a bunch of my friends, and they said, "Look, Daily Wire's trying to run a business. If he gets banned off YouTube, how are they going to sell ads? How are they going to do the sponsorships? Where his views are gone?"
Yeah.
And I've seen people tweet, all of Crowder's views come from YouTube anyway, so he'd basically be unmonetizable if he was banned.
Is my headphones making a weird noise?
It's categorically false.
No, you good now.
Because Rumble exists. And
Ben streamed there for the first time today.
And this is an important context. The contract you were offered says Facebook, Apple. I said YouTube, Apple, Facebook, Spotify, but it didn't mention any of your views from any other platforms. And there's Google Podcasts. They get views. I know the numbers. Obviously, it's not the same as Apple, but it's interesting to me that for a lot of people, like Dan Bongino, for instance, had more subscribers on Rumble than YouTube.
Yeah,
it's interesting then that their attitude is, if you're banned from YouTube, it's a 20% fee reduction, which you mentioned includes your staff
25.
Salary. 25.
And then 25 for and then another 20. It's 45. In other words, for us, right off the bat. And this is the thing. I said, like, what, is this an accident? Like, in other words, okay, we're good.
But let me
but hold on a second. Does anyone here have a problem? Do you not believe me when I say we haven't been monetized on YouTube for 3 years? You all know that, right?
Of course.
Literally.
And we're not that close.
0 days, or did you have?
So what happened is we were demonetized. How many years ago? Then someone accidentally remonetized us for like 4 months, and then demonetized. We were like, yeah, and then demonetized again. We were like, what happened? And they were like, yeah, actually, no, sorry, you're demonetized again. I was like, well, skunked again.
So what did we do to get monetized, basically?
But of course, they get an answer, right?
I want to make sure this point is made clear for everybody because this is a very important part of the argument. When I heard it, if the point is you can't sell ads or build an audience because YouTube banned you and that's it, but you're getting 85% or more views on Rumble. The question is, why no penalty for getting banned from Rumble? Why is Rumble not a consideration in the contract at all? And why don't they simply say comparable views instead of the platform? Right. Like if for every 1 million views per day you lose, we dock you X%.
I can answer you that question exactly because
so what happened?
It's fundamental to the business model. And I was informed of that. It is fundamental. In other words, there are plenty of options out there, right? He can tell you, I get excited when I walk out of them and go, hey, how many people were tuning in live on YouTube? How many on Rumble? They go, oh, it's tipped. There are more people on Rumble. Sure, I've been on YouTube for a long time, since 2006, but it doesn't mean that they don't change, right? And the issue is, I think it's a great thing to use these platforms. There's a huge difference, by the way, between being monetized and being on the platform. Yeah. But ultimately, if we believe what we say, we have to be trying to get to the point where we know that fast forward 5 years, you can't speak the truth on YouTube, certainly not if you want to be monetized. But there's this jockeying for position with people who they see as competition. And the issue here that I've always made clear is the locking in of these punitive contracts that mandate and enforce big tech policies and guidelines as a matter of business. And that hurts creators. And the same thing, by the way, when we're talking about misleading practices with sponsors, there's no problem. Right? And this is all publicly verifiable. I want you guys to be able to audit this so that there don't have to be as many receipts provided. You market your channel, right? I think we probably have some ads running right now, like Spotify,
about the Candace
if you like the show, tune in to Spotify. But there's a big difference. We know that there's a huge problem in our industry of pay to play. Now, you can do that. That's fine if you want to grow your numbers. But
what is that?
So pay to play means that you can buy views, right? You can pay to play. You can run your video as a pre-roll ad, and people see that number. But really, a lot of them are 14-second views, 8-second views, but it still clicks that counter. The closest apples to apples comparison that you could do right now is you could go out and take, like, let's say, not this controversy because there's cross-pollination, but Ben Shapiro's a huge show. Of course he is. But go take some videos there right now that have 1 million plays. Go month after month. Take a bunch of them. Look at the likes. Look at the comments. Take videos from my channel. It's comparable plays. Take them with 800,000, 600,000 plays because we converted them a lot to Rumble. Look at the likes. Look at the comments. It's startling because it's a lot easier to buy plays than it is to buy likes and comments. That's not a problem.
Well, are you saying that the Daily Wire is buying views for their content?
I'm saying that they run the videos. This happens not just Daily Wire, to be clear. Stop Big Con is designed because it's entire industry.
It's not only that as well.
Yes, these views get
How many times do you have that autoplay turned on?
The problem is this.
So while you're scrolling through to find a video on YouTube, if it plays and you're reading the title for 5 seconds, it counts as a view.
When you sit down with sponsors, and these are hard-earned dollars, right? A lot of them are mid-sized companies. You run them on this show, and they say, yeah, but you know what? We didn't get our money's worth, and this person is the #1 show, because they go out and they say that they have these numbers, and they set what happens. They drop those rates across the board, which hurts everybody, or they pull out altogether. Now, you can publicly verify that information. Now, I could tell you guys that I've had conversations with sponsors that say, we're not going to be running in the conservative space because it's just not as effective as we thought it was, or, you know what, we're going to be pulling out. And content creators will say, why am I getting these low advertising rates? Here's the issue. If you're some kid, and by kid, I mean, you could be a 40-year-old with a smaller podcast. Let's say you get 250,000 plays. Not as big, but good numbers. Let's say you get 500,000 plays, right? Good numbers, but they're real. And you are a conservative and you're trying to grow this. And then all of a sudden, your content, YouTube is saying, can't say that, can't do that because of the box that's being created by all of these companies in big conservatism. And then you're trying to make it. Right? You're trying to make it something that is financially solvent, and you can't because sponsors no longer have faith in this side of the industry. That is something that hurts those creators. And this is something that, so the creators are hurt, the sponsors are hurt, the viewers are hurt because I just want to finish this one. And then any questions you have, the viewers are hurt because they feel isolated. They feel like their views are not represented, right? They go, hold on a second, I'm conservative. Why are none of the top people saying whatever it is, X, Y, Z? And the investors are hurt. And I don't mean billionaires. In our case, it's people who invest when they sign up for Mug Club. They are paying us because we know that you're demonetized. We know that you don't run nearly as many sponsors. You're very selective. And we think we are giving you our dollar in faith because we think that you are fighting for us. Imagine, let me give you one final parallel world there. Imagine if we left the blaze, okay? And this, again, the issue is that everyone is demanded to sign these exact same contracts. That's what they said. They've been very, very clear about that. It's just business. Imagine if Mug Club leaves the blaze. And let's say we come back 2-3 months, okay? And we come back, and all of a sudden, I don't talk about vaccines in the way that I used to. All of a sudden, I don't talk about election integrity like I used to. All of a sudden, I don't host Carrie Lake in the same way that I used to, or host her at all. And all of a sudden, all the parodies, the sketches, the sweeping epic, like a parody of Saving Private Ryan, or There Will Be Blood, or Schindler's List, whatever it is, you don't see any, change my mind. You don't see any of those anymore, but you see 4 or 5 live reads. I'd be the definition of a sellout. And I would be selling out the people who paid for something different. Only one group of people here is saying, you have to fit into this box. I'm saying, you got to let some people let the freak flag fly. I don't care if you want to be monetized or not. Don't lock people and punish them on behalf of big tech when you claim that you are fighting them. And it is everywhere. And it's disheartening.
I'll tell you a story. I think the people who have watched my content consistently know about this. It was called, some refer to it as ad rights sales, ad rights buying. Back in the early 2010s, these up-and-coming digital media outlets would sell the rights. What they would do is they would buy the rights to views. Mm-hmm. So let's say you're a company called like badbehavior.com. Some word that represents people.
Why'd you pick one that is clearly going to direct people to hardcore pornography?
All right, let's just say
good behavior.
Yeah.
Skittles and Rainbows website. Okay. And
same.
Audacious M&M's.
Let's say you're a big brand, and you get about 30 million views per month. Mm-hmm. That's not going to cut it. You can sell a premium idea. There would be these low tier websites. You've seen them before. You'll see an ad and it'll say, guess what this celebrity looks like now. You click it. Mm-hmm. And then it'll say, here's the celebrity throughout 25 years. And every photo has 50 ads. And you click next and it loads a new page with 50 ads. What they're doing is harvesting views.
Right.
Yes.
So then this website that nobody knows the name of, nobody visits, tricks you into collecting a view. They then sell the rights to those views to a premium network. The premium network then goes to advertisers and says, our network gets 200 million views per month.
Right.
And if you advertise with us, you are in that network. And in reality, you only get 30, but they bought the rights.
And meanwhile, there's some kid who's actually getting 10 million views, right? Meanwhile, there's some kid, and he doesn't get the same advertiser rates because he gets burned. And then those kids drop out. Does anyone ever wonder why the burnout rate is so high in this industry? There are so many good people. I mean, you can go back to when I was on PJTV in 2009. People who I worked with, good, solid people who, by the way, had skin in the game.
I can actually say,
and you'll never hear from them again because they just.
I'm not going to say how I know.
They get disenfranchised.
But
they get disenchanted, and that's the issue. Look. It doesn't affect me. I'll be fine either way. But we've always talked about building a bench, and I've always talked about wanting to be able to pass the torch. It's not possible to do this way. And by the way, the way this is true is right now I have said I don't want to do this. Again, I've been thinking about this for a long time, trying to work behind the scenes, trying to work within the system until I realized there's just no interest in doing it that way. And then you say, okay, is our move, this is why we lose. Conservatives wonder, what the hell? What the midterms? What the hell happened? Why do you think? Why do you think people like Lindsey Graham, like Mitch McConnell, nothing personal against them? Why do you think that there are people out there and you go, how do they not get voted out? Why do you think these are our decisions for speaker? These are our choices. Why do you think you constantly lose? Because the people who really do want to be the vanguard at the cutting edge, they burn out and they leave because they can't compete against it. And that's the issue.
I got to tell you, man, I make this point all the time where I just say, for all the people who are claiming I'm a grifter or I only want money and that I don't really believe the things I'm fighting for, I'm like, it would be so much easier to sell everything, shut it all down, and just buy some properties, rent them out, and not have to worry about any of this.
Take money and shut up.
Yeah.
Right?
Take money and shut up. But it's not about what's easy.
Yeah.
It's about what matters.
Yeah. And by the way, we want you guys to make money. We want every conservative in this space to run a profitable business. That's what I run. I own a wine business.
Manuka honey back there.
We want people to make as much money as humanly possible, but do it honestly. And just be honest with people about how you're going to spend that money as well.
Well, there's the issue too. When you're talking about honesty, is it just friends or is it just business? You kind of have to pick one. Is it a lash out or is it premeditated? You kind of have to pick one. Look,
let's
yeah, go ahead.
I do want to talk about the friend versus business thing, but I do want to first jump into a segment where we can talk about $50 million. The big narrative that we were hearing about your argument.
Well, it's not anymore, right? They changed it to the phone call. That was the initial narrative, which was a lie. That's a tactic of the left.
Well, so let's do the context here. Yeah. You put out a video. You mentioned, look at these fees. It's, I
never mentioned money outside of what I believe were immoral penalty fees. I never talked. You've never heard me say, hey, not enough money was offered. That's not what it's about.
So when we first were watching the show and we talked about it, I said, what's the fee? We don't know. And then the Daily Wire's response, of course, was, we offered this guy $50 million.
Basketball money.
Basketball money. The response then from detractors and most people was, holy crap. And they're imagining Steven Crowder in a big private bank vault diving into a bunch of gold coins. When in reality, the $50 million included the entire budget for your whole staff, your whole production facility, every production you would have done. Meaning you've got to pay, how many employees do you have?
About 25, soon to be 30 something.
Soon to be 30 something. Now, if you want to do production on a skit, we're talking maybe 30 to 50K, depending on the size of the skit.
Every time I try to change my mind, it's $50,000.
50 security,
millions in legal each year, millions of dollars in equipment, payroll, millions of dollars in taxes. It's the merging of what was that?
It's theft.
Yes, I completely agree.
But let me just say,
wheelhouse.
I'm on your side on this one. Everybody can know my bias. The reason that really bothered me is because I run a company. I know how much money we make. And there are people who assume that revenue equals money in your pocket profit. And it's like, no. If they're giving him $50 million, it sounds so wonderful.
They're assuming you're dumb. They're treating the audience like they're dumb. Again,
well,
I think
Candace says you're dumb for understanding this.
People don't understand because they're assuming that you won't go and do research. Look, $50 million basketball money versus $12 million. If let's say Marvel says, I don't know, the new Thor movie is $200 million. Is that Hemsworth's salary? It's that simple of an analogy.
Yeah.
But the issue here, and I'll let Gerald kind of talk about that more. The issue here is like, I think that these people at Daily Wire, they've said that they're very business savvy. They're running a business. So are they very business savvy? And no, are they dumb and don't know that $12.5 million a year for an entire production house is what we're actually looking at? Or are they lying when they say it's basketball money and $50 million salary? I think Candace Owens at one point got up to like 140 or something. I don't
so
really.
You said you wanted $30 million a year or 140.
And the only reason people know that's not true, and you've seen the transcript, you ever see me once say, hey, it's about more money? There was never an offer sent after I said, look, it's a non-starter if you don't change these terms, and please tell me that you're not doing this with other people. There was never anything after that. Whereas, of course, the non-starter is I can't do 5 live reads because we do commercials.
I just want to ask one specific question because a lot of people are bringing this up and they're accusing you guys of only exposing them after they turned down your counter offer. Is that true, or can you add more information to that?
Yeah, I don't know why they're saying the timeline that he kind of gave was completely inaccurate.
Yeah, there was never any counter offer from us. What Steven said was basically, look, guys, these are the terms that we have a problem with.
Right.
And if I don't care what the contract says dollar wise, if these terms are in there, that's bad, and you need to start again. This has to be pulled out.
So there was no counter offer because I'm seeing a lot of you guys say
there was the agent. I think my agent. The first they sent this term sheet. The agent said, "Well, if you're talking about 100% ownership, by the way, in perpetuity, forever, meaning, and it's a 6-year contract with no option to negotiate. They have an option to extend for 2 years, 6 years." Locked in at that rate. And again, how do you penalize someone for money that they don't make? They're not going to lose money on you being demonetized. Now, I get that I'm a special situation, but they said this is demanded of everybody. The big con issue is something that I've been running up against, and everyone in this industry knows for many, many years. They just were arrogant enough to out themselves and to put it in writing and to say, we know how to run this business. We figured it out. You don't know what you're talking about. And of course, after that, another last straw was, then going and trying to take our social media director. And I only showed you that email because he's willing for me to show you. Like, we have people poach all the time. When you have your ideas stolen and they put more money behind it, not just mine. When you build someone up and someone else comes in and says, hey, we'll offer you more money. They use them for 6 months and burn them out. I'm sure that's an accident. I'm sure the people at the top of Daily Wire didn't know when they reached out to someone who was not looking for a job, who loudly and proudly advertises himself as social media director for Louder with Crowder. But I could tell you that on that phone call, they said, we have an entire social media department. Right? I said, I have one guy, Gary, and he's awesome. A few days later.
I do want to dedicate more time.
Tell me I've been wrong now.
I want to dedicate some more time to starting from the beginning of the context of that story. But I wanted to address something before Luke jumped in.
How dare you, Luke?
How dare you, Luke?
I got to ask
Florida.
No.
Go to Florida.
I'm sitting here.
That was a good question. I'm not saying it. I want to put a tack in this. And one of the big things we're hearing is a friend. You guys were friends, and the recording of the phone call and stuff. And I just thinking about the contract. 4-year contract with option to renew for 2, locking you in at that rate, 12.5, including the entirety of your staff. And it's just business. And I'm kind of like, I hear that. It's not something friends offer their friends.
No, is it boilerplate? We send this to everybody? Or is it a friend? You know what it costs to have a lawyer mark up a term sheet? It ends up being thousands of dollars, especially when it's like,
what did I just say?
None of this makes sense. This isn't for someone who's been demonetized. But the problem, and that's when it came down to, well, you heard in that phone call, I said, take me out of it, right? This is not the right fit, period. I knew that. Please tell me that these are not the terms that are demanded. Penalties that you are monetized on YouTube, that you remain on Facebook, that you stay in. Please tell me these are not the terms that are demanded of everybody. And I said, those were the last words. And he said, yeah, maybe I'll take it under advisement. And then you go, okay, all right, this is where we are. There's no hope for the movement if we claim to be fighting big tech and we sell out the people who are paying us to do so and fighting on behalf of big tech. I'm sorry. It is something, it's wrong.
Earlier in the show, you mentioned that, I think you mentioned this in the show, that you were in Hollywood. You were doing the standard talent route, and then you decided to come out on YouTube as a conservative, and it basically cost you a lot. You lost your manager. You don't come off to me as a lot of, Candace was on the show and she said he's doing it for money. It's so obvious. Why can't people see it? And I'm thinking about that and I'm like,
do you believe that?
No, I don't.
Well, they're accusing you of counter offering.
But I understand that. But the first thing I thought was, I'm like, Crowder's already rich. You know what I mean? Like, I understand people are looking at contracts and money.
Not really like you'd think. I mean, if they want to do personal tax returns and business tax returns and the charitable givings, we can do that.
This is
we can do that. Again, we can do it through a third party and seal them because I get private information. We can do that. Gerald will tell you.
This is again, do it. People like why I care about the subject matter so much.
Yeah.
Running this business and making lots of money. I often say, for a guy like me, who growing up in Chicago and being close to the bottom of the totem pole as an American, which is great for the rest of the world. I mean, for the rest, America's awesome.
Right.
The poorest person is wealthy compared to everybody else.
Right.
But there's a certain point in terms of having things that I could have ever wanted, and it's a very, very low bar.
Right.
I'm making it once I got hired by Disney, the Disney Fusion, they're paying me $250K. I'm staring at money I have no idea what to do with.
Right.
Beyond that, I'm going to change the world. I'm going to do everything I can.
But this is the thing. The dialogue shifted to money. You heard me say this is wrong. And then it's money, just a business. And then this is wrong. Money. This is just a business. Look, it's not just a business. And by the way, when you're talking about business, find out what motivates the people you're in business with. I'm not motivated by money. That's not what motivates me. If you look back at the track record in 2009, it was because I wanted to see the system burn, meaning as far as the system that kept conservatives in line. And I mean the liberal system. But then when you realize that it's on your own side, not motivated by money. And by the way, don't leave someone with nothing to lose. The easiest situation is take the money, shut up. Second easiest is go bet on yourselves. You've seen the numbers that we've given you there. And guess what? You make more money, you shut up. The option of say no and say, look, this is wrong and speak out is significantly harder than any of the other paths.
The two things I want to say is, my point on the money was I view you in a similar way, that you're ideologically driven, that if you have the resources to do what you want to do and you're living comfortably and taking care of your family, beyond that, I don't see you as the kind of guy who's like, I don't have an infinity pool and 3 Ferraris in my garage. So when they say Crowder is just...
What's the infinity pool? Is that the edge?
It's where the edge goes off, and so,
it looks like a horizon. I have no idea.
That sounds nice. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't mind
a sewer. That's
right. But the question is, if you had the choice between an infinity pool and a young, a talented personality who is going to help change the shape of this country for the better, I think you're going to choose to change the shape of this country for better. That's my view of you.
100%. I had to tell this guy that it was okay to buy a reasonably priced shotgun.
Yes.
I'm not kidding. This is not me like stating.
Well, he is Canadian.
We've been friends. We've been friends for a while. Steven can tell me at any point to go pound sand, right? So I'm not kissing up. It's just like he's like, guys, I want to buy the shotgun. And I'm thinking,
Benelli M4.
Benelli
M4.
Yeah,
it's a good one. I got one. I got one.
Do you have the H2 over?
I have the foldable stock.
Hey, I want. Yeah. Is it basketball money? Crazy expensive? No, it's not, right? And so
everyone in America deserves a shotgun.
A Benelli too.
A Benelli.
We went to it.
It was 2.5
We were in Texas together, and you were there when I bought it.
But we were at a shop out here. Luke said, "Hey, you should buy that. It's really great." I buy it, and then he goes, "I want it. I want it instead."
Was it a Benelli?
I was pissed off because I was like, I didn't think. I was like, I should have bought this, and then he bought it before me. And I'm like, wait.
So wait, hold on. This is fun because this is.
We had a whole argument.
John was. By the way, how many people are watching right now?
150,000 ish.
158
on our channel. 158,000.
So what?
Tell me we don't follow his ass.
158,000.
That's just on your channel. That's why we're still streaming on ours. Right?
I think second highest number we've ever done.
Okay.
Just on our YouTube alone. Did you want to say
transfer?
Make a point?
No, it wasn't really a point. It was the Benelli M4, right? So what happened is I really wanted. Well, they're not cheap. And I was like, you know what? I can't justify buying this. You can go buy it online. And so I was talking with Gerald and Johnny Boy, who you met, my Canadian friend. I said, okay, you know what? If I go into, because they're like unicorns, they sell out right away. I said, if I go into a gun store to pick up something up for some, and
he makes some damn good
that's
points.
God telling me he wants me to have a Benelli M4.
But sometimes I can't get behind what he says.
I went to go pick up some transfers from Walther, and lo and behold, I see one there just came in, and it's the H2O version, the Cerakoted version. And I don't think you were with me, but Johnny Boy was. And I was like, you know, I still don't think I can justify it. He said, if you don't pay for it, I'm going to buy it. And of course, I knew that it would be far more expensive for him. So I bought it, but it took a long time. I'm not really motivated, but it is a nice shotgun, though. I will say, occasionally there are some things, if you're going to spend money on.
Oh, a tool, any tool that you want to learn something with, like a guitar too. You want to get a really good tool.
Yeah. Or like knives. Like if I have there's a huge with steel and that's okay. Sorry, Tim. I know we're giving you.
Let's go. I love the Benelli stuff because I got one.
I wanted to make
but I got to make a point about, you said in 2009, you were like, you realize that the liberal system is holding you back or something to that effect. And then you eventually realize it's on your side as well.
Yeah.
I look over to Luke because Luke's the guy who's been screaming since 2006, like the Republican machine is lying to you all the same. The powers that were being given to the intel agencies and the establishment will be used against you.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. You're absolutely right. And let's be honest, right? How can you change all that yourself? You're doing the best that you can, right? But there's only so much that you can do. The difference is right now, at this point, an inflection point in history, as it relates to right-wing conservative media, I can do something. I can't change the intelligence agencies. But you know what? When I ask Carrie Lake on the show, I say, would you disband the FBI? Yeah, I would. Boom. Gone. Suspended. I can do something about that. I can't change the CIA or the FBI. You're probably more effective with that than I am. I'm an entertainment guy. I was a guy telling jokes in clubs, having beer bottles thrown at me when I was 17 years old, voicing a black bear who was the best friend of an aardvark when I was 12, which is clearly derived from hallucinogenic drugs.
I love that show.
Yeah, it's funny. I had to do the Kwanzaa rep if everyone find something embarrassing for the Christmas episode. And that's when I was 13 years old. And I was like, oh, Kwanzaa. And I was like, let me look into this. I should, Daniel Day-Lewis this. And then I realized, oh, it's bullshit. It's Ron Everett, and he beat them with fire hoses and soldering irons. And then I'm doing this song for Arthur. Hey, come together now. It's Kwanzaa time. And I wanted to.
Was the pay worth it?
Well, at that point, I was under contract at 12 years old.
Right.
So there's not much you can do.
I still remember we were called crazy truthers for calling this out as rationally as we did, saying, hey, the national security state is going to be turned around against you. And it has. But
you're right.
At that time specifically, we had a discourse that was kind of free and open. We didn't have algorithms. People were able to see important messages and videos and talking points and content creators. Now we're living in a different age. I wanted to get your point of view. Some
you're
people
awesome.
say
35
you have to
watching
keep pushing
now.
the Overton window. Some people say you got to keep playing ball. Mark Dice is also in the chat. He just is accusing Ben Shapiro of allegedly paying $135,000 to boost his Facebook posts. I don't know if that's true.
Well, who cares though? He can do that. The only issue I have is when that's used and it hurts people because sponsors drop out because they don't get their money's worth. Again, I could tell you that. But would those receipts be a betrayal? Because this industry fundamentally needs to change. People are investing in you and in us and in what you're saying. Right? If you can't say what it is that you're saying right now, let's say if you send a contract and said, yeah, but you know what? We have a lot of buddies in those systems. You're selling out the people who are supporting you. And that's something that to me is unconscionable. And people can disagree with it, but no, I think you're absolutely right.
So what would be the total solution? I want to get into the problem solving. Like, what would you do if you were the Daily Wire?
Okay, so the only thing, and this is the thing, this is all done right now. I'm not saying that I have all the answers, but the first answer, and I've said we won't talk about this again. If someone takes a pledge alongside me, anyone in BigCon, just the only thing that I ask is that you do not punish conservative content creators on behalf of big tech. That's it. Start with that. Let's start with that before we get to everything else, right? So a lot of times people want the entire solution. Just start with that. You won't be penalized 25% if you're demonetized on YouTube by the people who are supposed to be fighting for you.
Now let's address the argument there.
Yeah.
The argument they've made is why should we be the ones to lose money if you're removed from the platform and not making money?
And that sounds really great, right? It's a partnership. That's what they were talking about. They were trying to pick like a partnership and put it into contract form, or at least in this, like a term sheet, right? Well, what it didn't take into account, honestly, is what if Steven, okay, it's $12.5 million. What if he's making them 30? What if he's making them $30 million?
That's a starting point.
Yeah. What if he's making $1 million a year, and all of a sudden, instead of making 30, you subtract 2 from that. So it's fine to share in these things when the expenses come up, but when the upside comes up, we're not really in a partnership anymore.
We would
so
be the
this
only
wasn't
one,
about money, guys.
We would be the only ones
it's just
at risk.
Disingenuous.
The only ones at risk. I'm already demonetized.
I can hear Jeremy being like, "It was a term sheet. I would have negotiated." I can hear him.
Well, look, I can write that I want to have sex with your wife on a term sheet. Oh, I thought you were going to redline it. So like, come on.
Your wife. This is a good point. It penalized you. It's if you get banned, you lose X percent. And
no matter how much you're making,
45.
No matter how much you're making, and no matter how much you lose.
Yeah.
If you lose $0, they penalize you.
And the penalties add up to 110%. And they said in their own video, this is demanded of all creators, right? Does anyone disagree that that's what was said? This is what everyone signs. Now here's the issue with that. Again, you don't put it in if you don't want that.
The counterpoint Candace said is she negotiated. She hired a lawyer.
Yeah.
Steven Crowder has the resources to hire a lawyer.
Do you have hundreds of thousands of dollars, like I said?
I thought we were good friends.
Like he said?
I figured out why Candace was so pissed last week when she came in.
Yeah.
I figured it out. I'll tell you about it in a second.
I want to let's talk about the friends thing. This is actually a really good point. You recorded co-CEO of Daily Wire, Jeremy Boring, on a phone call.
Yep.
He says, I thought we were friends.
Yep.
A lot of people have said, wow, that was a messed up thing to do. It sounds like what you're saying in the context we were just talking, they sent you a business contract that was very bad, that penalized you 110% if all fees are applied, more money than they would actually pay you. And it didn't take into consideration if you made them more money. It didn't take into consideration how much money you made them. It didn't take into consideration if you were banned from Facebook, but Facebook generated no revenue. They still penalized you.
That's part of it.
So here's what I'm hearing. Here's what I'm thinking. If the question is, and I do have qualms about recording the recording, but we'll get into more detail. They say you were supposed to be friends. Why would you record your friend's phone call? Well, there's an interesting point to be made. Why would your friend send you a very, very bad contract that felt exploitative?
And why would a friend not listen to you when you say, take me off the table, it's not a fit? There was never, just to be clear, there was never another offer that came through after I said, these are the non-starters, the penalties for big tech, right? The owning of people's names, image, likeness, their platforms are in perpetuity long after they leave. I said, then we can talk about the money, right? He said they came in low, and I'm sure my gay Cuban hardcore right-wing agent came in high. You find that, but it's like, but there can't be any terms without this. Once I said that can't happen, these terms, the big tech penalties, that's when talks completely stopped. It was never changed and said, of course, all these, it's like you saw in the first video, we have to make money.
They outright said that fee structure couldn't be changed.
Yeah, there was never another offer after that. I said, look, this is the sticking point. You have to get rid of all of these.
Change it.
And also, we can't do this. I'd love to sit as from one business owner to another. You don't have to do it this way, right? A good example is, look, I feel vulgar talking about numbers. Election night. Okay, election night. We had been suspended for having Carrie Lake on. The entire Daily Wire cast.
I'm going to gloat at the end of this a lot.
A quarter of the viewers.
Me too. That
viewership went up 40,000 people. That's proof of product that, hey, look, proof of concept. You can do it off of YouTube. You don't have to.
Right.
I think you use the platform as long as you can, but you need to start building alternatives. It is fundamental to the business model on the right to not change that.
And I'll just point out that we have about 120,000 more live viewers than we average with you being here. So there's something to be said.
I think Daily Wire's got some creative, like a lot of opportunity on their website. Because like if all your back catalog was on Daily Wire at no cost to anybody, and they could go into Daily Wire, log in, and then I spend 99 cents on a Crowder video, and then that money gets split between you guys. Like there's a lot of technical.
Well, they're already going to be doing over 300,000 Mug Clip subscribers day one, right? Now, the issue here is let's take me out of it. Let's say you're starting your own thing, right? You're trying to come up in this movement, and the terms are being set by people on your side behind the scenes where this is the ball that you have to play. I said to Jimmy, take me out of it. It's not the right fit, which I thought if I don't have a dog in this fight anymore, it won't fall on deaf ears when I say, hey, it's about the next kid. This can't work. We can't have a movement. We can't sell our people out. And that's how I view it. Maybe you don't. They said,
and then they let the dogs out.
But there are alternatives. You don't have to be dependent on YouTube or Facebook. And you certainly shouldn't make it fundamental to your business model when you're telling people that you're fighting them. This has been going on for years.
Here's my
view. Not just Daily Wire, to be clear. Not just Daily Wire. Pick a name in the movement. Most likely, yes.
Here's my view of it. I think the Daily Wire does important work, good work. Candace Owens' BLM documentary, I think, was good. What is a Woman, I think, was a massive success. that What Is a Woman reached people that I know that aren't political, and that's a cultural force. So I think I talked with them. We had a meeting. I sat down with Jeremy, with a few of the other guys, but mostly with Jeremy. Jeremy came on the show. Afterwards, he said, "Hey, if there's anything you ever need, let us know. Thanks for having me on." And I was like, "I'll hit you up sometime." We talked about doing Nashville week because we wanted to try out our new mobile studio. Then while we're in the process of setting this up, I said, well, let's talk. I mean, is there a way we can maximize the effectiveness of our operations? You guys are way bigger than us.
Of course.
But of course, there could be an opportunity that we don't understand that you do. And so we started talking about a variety of different things.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it came to potential terms. It came to requirements. Of all the businesses I've ever negotiated with, the most real, in my opinion, was with Jeremy. It was like I was talking to an actual human being who knew what he meant, who explained the pitfalls, the pros and cons. Look, if we do a deal like this, you're right, it's going to suck because of that reason. That's true. What do you think? And I said, I don't know if that's going to work for us. The joke is, I actually said, what if I want to put up a billboard that says Liz Cheney's a fat pig? And he was like, that's not us. Like, we're not. And I said,
couldn't find one big enough?
Right. but I said, like, I'm not literally going to do that. I feel it is kind of crude saying that point, but the point I'm trying to make is that we're roguish. We want to do weird things.
Yeah.
The ultimate conclusion was, then there's maybe we can't work transactionally together. And I was like, yeah. He's like, but we'll do other cool stuff.
Sure.
We'll talk with your guys on our shows. We'll have you on. You can come on. This will be really great for everybody. And so my view was like, I agree with you on the contract stuff.
But why did it really fall apart?
Why
did it completely fall apart?
Like the deal with
in other words, what you're saying is they were saying you need to be in this box because it's not about the billboard. Let's be honest. It's not just about the billboard.
The billboard was the box. It was like if I wanted to do something that was aggressive and more shocking, the billboard is that point.
Yeah.
I don't want to put up a billboard calling Liz Cheney a fat pig.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Did they do the thing where they said, we tried to look at outside capital for you for the first time? We couldn't make it work. They didn't do that? They didn't do that? I don't want to give up too much of the details of the conversation we had. Of course. But I basically said, let's just say I made a big ask of the biggest asks. That if what you're saying, it has to be this way, then I have a very, very big ask. And they were like, yeah, that's expensive. I don't know if we can do that. And I was like, look, ultimately what it comes down to is, for those that understand tabletop RPGs, they play Paladin, I play Rogue. Someone commented in Super Chat. I don't understand the reference.
But I'll explain right now.
Do you not?
Someone Super Chatted, they're trying to be rebels within the box.
They're warriors of God. That's a paladin.
Basically, think of a stoic monk, a knight following the rules, holding his sword, saying, look, the rules are as such. We will do right to the best of our abilities. Whereas we here at Timcast are like a bunch of crackpots in the bandits' forest being like, we're going to do what we want to do.
That's like the Lost Boys out here. It's a skate park, and it's like a bunch of mopeds. And I thought you were going to throw a basketball in my face. Bring you
to the basketball court.
You did. Yeah, I meant the VIP up the half pipe. Yeah, I would agree with you. Here's the problem. When you have a few, because this is not about the Daily Wire. There are a few key companies that control what is permissible in this movement. And these few key companies are saying, this is the only way. I'm saying there could be many ways. It would be one thing if we're saying, hey, maybe this way, maybe this other way. But now this sort of reeks of, why don't you go and create your own YouTube? Why don't you go and create your own? Find billionaire investors to give you seed money. Yeah. Well, how do you do that when then, this happens a lot, ideas are stolen, and then millions pumped behind it to promote it as though it seems original, and then they steal your talent, who you foster. You've probably had this happen. I've had it happen with dozens of people. The picture I sent you of people working at our company.
What was my idea about doing political OnlyFans?
Worked for
me.
And
then who stole that?
Other big networks in this space came in, offered them a bunch of money. I said, look, I'm not going to give you a letter of recommendation. After 6 months, they come back.
To talk about behind.
So I wanted to address what you were just saying about these companies playing by the rules. That's completely my experience with a lot of these different companies, is that big tech is clearly infiltrated by, you look, Alan Bakari, I think it was, got his hands on that Google video where
I think I remember
crying that Trump won. This is Google. I love this. Chat. On my Wikipedia, it says Tim Pool, maintains that there's a bias in big tech against conservatives or whatever.
Sure.
And I'm like, no, I don't. I read a Gizmodo article from 2016 that said Facebook was suspending conservative news outlets.
Well, that's how I met my half-Asian lawyer, Bill Richmond. He read the article and he was like, yeah, it's like the Chris Kyle Foundation, Ted Cruz for president, and you You need some representation. I was like, yeah.
They act like it was a smear against me, that I was pushing conspiracy theories when I was literally reading the left news sources. Right. So anyway.
And Luke saying, told you.
They set these terms, these big tech companies. And then what happens is the leftist organizations clearly say the stupidest and craziest things. You know, ChatGPT, the AI bot? It was, I think, Jack Posobiec who asked it, or he tweeted this out. When asked, did Joy Reid and Rachel Maddow spread COVID misinformation? It says, no, they didn't. And it was like, well, they did. Literally, we know for a fact they did.
Yes.
And then it goes on and says, well, while they acknowledge some mistakes, no. The whole machine is skewed in that direction. What happens then is big tech company, I shouldn't say big tech, I'm sorry. Many of these big conservative outlets, I shouldn't even say necessarily conservative outlets, but many of these companies are just like, we're going to set the parameters right here because we're going to be within the box. We're going to be rebels in the box.
This is the problem, and I'm finding why I think Candace was pissed too, is that when we refer to companies doing thing, and what happens is the company is a hologram. It doesn't have any availability or any ability to do anything. The people, so when you're negotiating, for instance, it comes out, Steven Crowder negotiating with the Daily Wire, quote.
Right.
And that brings all these other Daily Wire employees into it. Like they were getting messages, Candace was, Michael knows on their chats, and they're like, now I'm involved because it was between you and Jeremy Boring,
we don't have to
Ben Shapiro. There's actually 4 owners to the Daily Wire: Ferris Wilkes and Caleb Robinson, owned by Bent Key Ventures. So you're only in negotiation with 4 people. If we stop saying YouTube is doing this, we're going to get a lot more accurate in the people. Who's doing it? Who's using YouTube as a filler?
Yeah,
I want to know. And also that leaves out unnecessary collateral damage.
Susan Wojcicki.
Well, like I said, it's like they send out on YouTube, you know, they send out representatives to conservatives and they're patsies for the higher ups. But when you get coming back to you time and time again, you know, if you did what company X, if you did what company, meaning big conservative companies who have meetings with them, if you did that, we might be able to get you remonetized or at least not suspended. And that's what, I mean, this is the thing.
Is there any examples you could give us about key issues?
Curbing speech and control.
Yeah, anything
like
relating,
you said
at
the beginning.
back in the day on trans issues. You know, for example, we had a character like we did for a long time. Trenny Bain was a character that we did. It was Bain Dark Knight series, and the whole idea was an uprising, you know, Arkham Asylum against YouTube. They said you can't do that anymore. There was one where they said you can't sell off-site the socialism shirt that we had, which wasn't even on YouTube. The socialism was for fig shirt. You don't want to know the funny story about that? I've never seen John laugh so hard. Was we started selling on the website because it's socialism is for figs. It's a play on words. You may not like it, but people also need to know Che Guevara executed gays, right? This is a guy, if when you wear a Che Guevara shirt, you're wearing a Hitler who was less successful in being charismatic and duping people. Not saying Hitler was successful. I'm saying he was a genocidal maniac. So, of course, we're mocking him. YouTube says, well, you can't do that. That shirt is
Can I pretend to be Kanye?
Platform. So what we ended up selling at the Crowder shop was a mystery box. And I get a call from one of the most senior executives at YouTube, and I go, "What?" They go, "We know what's in the box." And so we stopped selling, but that's something that's completely off the platform. But the point is, right? There needs to be someone standing up to these giant organizations. Yes. And when you say, like Jeremy said in his video, well, you know, we've only met with Susan Wojcicki once, and we were really going in and defending Steve. I say, okay, hold on a second. Are you the biggest, most influential, fastest growing conservative network in the world? Or did you spend time going in and fighting for the little guy and were completely ineffectual? You can't have both. One of those things is true. The inconsistencies are the issue here, and that's a tactic of the left. I fully expect them to come out and say, this is a lie, this is a lie, switch the narrative from the phone call, switch the narrative from the money. Now that that's gone, probably a hit list like the Vox Apocalypse, probably get personal. This is why people don't speak out. This is why good people don't run for office. And we shouldn't be doing that on the right. Bless you.
Thank you. I want to pull up this story right here. That's a story. I want to look at this email that you've shown me.
Yeah.
The Daily Wire tried poaching one of your employees. And what would make this significant is if this happened after your negotiations. Okay, so after you're talking,
it's not the first time that this has happened.
But real quick. After you were talking with the Daily Wire about potentially doing a deal, they reach out to your employees, and I'm looking at the email right here saying that they came across the social media manager. Hey, they got a great opportunity. Join the new counterculture. It says they emailed your staff and said, "Come work for us instead."
Right.
That doesn't not sound like something a friend would do.
Wow.
The reason I'm showing you that is I'm not going to be showing receipts from third parties who are blameless victims, right? Gary said you can show that. He came right to me and said, hey, look, this came up. I said, hey, they'll probably offer you more money and I'll write you a letter of recommendation. He said, no, I know you guys want to be monetized. And the issue that took place in the conversation, it might even be the one that you saw where I said, like, they're like, well, we do have a social media department. I said, well, we could do it here. That was the one thing that we talked about maybe splitting, I think, at some point. And I said, I have Gary and he's awesome. So he was named.
How long after you did that call about the term sheet did they send this email?
I don't know the day. I know it was definitely after the talks completely fell through. So you probably have the time, but what happened is there was a week where the election happened, right? Rumble.
So not only
because
did
we were
they
banned from
bring the
YouTube going into
term
the election,
sheet
which
to
I'm sure
this
was
man to
just
fuck him in the ass and shut his shit
and then,
down, they tried to
we
take
did
his
that, and I thought I
people.
was really kind of securing the future, for my children. I'm like, okay,
You don't like your job, do you? Come across.
free agent. Our performance on election night is going to be big because last time it was the biggest election stream ever, right? It was like 16,
Y'all are
17 million
defending
people
this
across
shit.
platforms. We're only doing it on Rumble. So wanted to do that. And I was really nervous. Okay, it went well. Then I did 2 shows at the Ryman, the original Grand Ole Opry in Nashville. And some Daily Wire people came
I'm
out.
glad he fucking let
And
that go.
The shows went really well. I mean,
God.
people need, eventually I'll release a special, but
I've got a lot to say.
Standing O to both shows. And Dave was there and did fantastically well too. And you think, okay, you can't do any better.
Ruben?
No, it was just me and Dave.
Oh, Dave Landau.
Dave Landau, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. I guess it could have been Ruben. I guess he does.
They're both kind of gay, but it's okay.
And then after
You gave me that look.
No, I was just very confused. I thought that there were hallucinogens in here from because that's the first thing he asked me. He's like, "Have you ever taken hallucinogens?"
Said it wasn't in there.
Yes. Then after that,
trusted you.
So
after that, we'd had those conversations about like this. These are the sticking points, right? And please, like, we got to figure out a better way to do this because it stifles the movement. After that, it was, we're not going to be able to come to any kind of terms. And that was for sure after that conversation. I made one final plea. Final plea, and that called like, just take me off the table. Promise me you won't do it to other people. And the question is, look, was your understanding when you invest money, when you subscribe, was your understanding that all conservative talent out there, nearly all, are penalized if they're demonetized? Was that your understanding? Was that your understanding that then they are penalized if they are suspended? Then they are penalized if they don't take as many lives? Was that your understanding when you were investing in people going out there and fighting for you? Because I know the feedback that I get at these live shows with thousands of people at every event. And it's not a hard-earned dollar that I take lightly. People feel powerless. They say there's only so much I can do. At least that guy can go out and fight for me. And I'd like it to be these guys and girls, not a guy.
And for context too, it's very important. These fees pertain to strikes and bannings on the major big tech platforms,
right,
irrespective of your viewership on the alternatives. We're all trying to help.
Or subscribership.
Or subscribers or sponsors.
Right.
And it's demonetization too. That's
here's an important picture that should be painted. A lot of people are saying, Crowder, you recorded Jeremy. That's not what friends do. They're surprised by it. But here's what I'm seeing now. And, putting myself in the middle of this. You're
always in the middle of it,
of course. That's what I do, right? but look, you go to the Daily Wire.
No, your term sheet.
You go to the Daily Wire. Here's a term sheet. You go, whoa, this is crazy. Right. Hey, you can't do this. The Daily Wire then says, all of a sudden, but a few months later, Crowder registers Stop Big Con. Then he calls and secretly records Jeremy. He was setting us up. This email right here paints a different picture in that you talked with the Daily Wire and said, here's our issue. Here's what we can't do. And they said, okay. And then sometime later, they try.
No, they said, if that's the issue, this is our business model and you don't know business.
But then they try and poach one of your employees, one of your.
And that could be an accident, but it's not the first time.
Yeah.
Well, but you said you mentioned him by name. And
Gary,
employee poaching is considered vulture-ish as it is, but it is business.
And by the way, there's a huge difference between employees.
Right.
And you fielding
you're available,
which happens, versus going to someone who is clearly not available, who was mentioned by name, saying this guy is awesome. And Gary's hilarious because he's Russian. He was born and raised in Russia until he was 13, but he seems totally American, no accent. But then occasionally you realize like he'll say something out of context, like I can kill 2 birds and get stoned or something.
But I'm Polish.
So were you raised in Poland?
Yes.
Okay, so there you go. No one would guess.
They call it Lucas.
So those first few years, did you have those disconnects where people are like, "Are you not?" And you're like, "I don't understand whatever."
First few years, he still does it.
I still do it all the time. Yeah, all the time. It's
but look, this is the point I'm trying to make. The picture painted so far was that you all of a sudden set up this plan to get the Daily Wire and they were blindsided by it. But it actually seems like now there was a bit of a back and forth in that you said, hey guys, I don't like this. Then they say, well, that's a business. Then they try to poach one of your employees. Then you're like, okay, this is, it sounds like
it's been going on for years. But everyone in the space knows it. Everyone in the space knows it.
This is not an issue of they had a polite conversation with you and said, we're sorry, we disagree. And then you devised a plan to come after them. There was, then the Daily Wire comes and tries to poach an employee. Then you guys are like, these kind of business practices can't continue.
And it was always about the terms. And it's stupid to say that this was our plan to get subscribers. I'm sorry. Like, I get a little bit pissed off with this because that means that you didn't pay any attention at all to Mug Club Forever. That was us getting in touch with our subscribers and making sure that whatever home we went to on our own with somebody else, we were going to have access to the people that paid for our content. This was not a plan that was hatched to make sure that we could ride off into freedom and do whatever the hell we wanted with this really great email list.
It would be like driving and I signed up.
We said it.
Yeah.
It was clear.
And you saw the numbers there.
It sounds like you guys are like right on the precipice of creating your own network or your own website where people pay you $10 a month and just get access to that.
And I really don't want to have to do that. Like, here's the thing, right? Wouldn't it be great if you could link arms with the self-professed most powerful people on our side who are supposedly fighting for us? But the problem is when they say, we have no interest in doing that, you go, wait, hold on a second. Here's the good news. I bring tidings of great joy. We can get just as many viewers on Rumble as you can on YouTube. And by the way, stay on YouTube, but just don't punish conservatives for being demonetized. They go, this is the business. We know. No one else does. I don't want to start a network.
If you guys could counteroffer, what would be the things you would counteroffer right now? What deal would you guys take from a big company? Let's not just say the Daily Wire. Let's just say there's another company. What's your ideal deal?
Gerald can take. Here's the problem. I would take a deal. I would have taken a deal that was less money and more honest and more freedom and not penalizing other people. He steps in because I'm like, yeah, it sounds like good money. He's like, you don't know what our expenses are, Gio. I'm like, I don't know, Gerald. You tell me.
I got a lot of different terms that you would have to negotiate. And this has been the sticking point from the very beginning. And it kind of goes back to something that you said about Candace getting these questions. It is just 100%. You don't start with these terms in the contract. Again, it was like, oh, it's a term sheet, negotiate. Of course we negotiate. I've been doing that. I understand that is part of the process. That's what you do in these things. But if you're going to start there and we say, hey, that's not something that should be in this movement. And you're like, well, we're not coming back to the table. By the way, after the Ryman, we were expecting them to come back and have changed that and made an offer that we could then start negotiating from.
That was the show that Jeremy was there with his lawyers.
The term sheet right here.
Yep,
I've got it. Mm-hmm. This is the whole
thing.
The
first one?
I don't know.
Tell me I'm fucking wrong now,
it says non-binding term sheet, confidential. It does say.
The only one?
No. I got to point out for you, Stephen. It says if any of the major platforms issue a strike, you would have the fee reduced. It gives examples of what the major platforms are. I'm assuming that's not limited to. In which case, it looks like they're basically saying what at their discretion they determine what a major platform is. Mm-hmm. Yes. And then, so if Twitter gave you a suspension, they dock your fee by 25%, even though Twitter is not a major driver of platform or host.
Right. But you know what the good news is? Could have been clarified and put in writing. Never was.
No. And by the way, I said that the first one because that didn't look like the Daily Wire one that you were holding. I was like, did you get an offer from somebody else?
No. That's because I think we did reader view or some shit.
By the way, do me a favor. I just need to understand this because one of the arguments that was put forth is, well, this is just a standard starting point for everybody. Okay.
I don't play those games. I don't do that.
No, but it's not just a term sheet. It's not just a term sheet. Everybody else, their production comes out of you. You knew Steven well enough to know that he had his own production team and therefore the costs would be borne by him, but everything else was just standard. And our apologies for leaving it in there.
Meanwhile,
because
you
that
make
was
it
one of the
back off
claims
his
that was
back.
made. This is just the standard contract, negotiating start point of term sheet that we always give to everybody. Right. It's like, yeah, but you knew Steven well enough to know he did all of his production, but then you're saying the rest of that was just standard. It's a production
company. It's a production house, right? It's everything. It's 25 employees.
It's just disingenuous, guys. It's not real.
Well, do they not know better, or is it dishonest? Let me ask you this. Do you really think, I will say this, the only thing I've said about Ben is brilliant. He's one of the smartest people I've ever known. I don't care what
I am. I'm a lawyer.
I still hope the best for the guy. And by the way, for people out there, and I know that they're anti-Semitic people, I've not said there's none of this controlled opposition. I 100% believe that Ben believes what he says, even if we disagree. None of that is taking place. The problem is when you demand that other people fall into line. But do you really
I'm not being anti-Semitic, but Ben knows what he's saying is true.
So ignorant that he thinks that's $50 million a year in my pocket basketball money. Do you think Ben believes that?
He knows better.
Yeah, he said
yes.
Is that honest?
Yep.
Is that honest? Now, if someone did that with you and said, Tim Pool is a money-grubbing prick, and we offered him basketball money, and someone came out and called you a little bitch, right? And that literally happened, and you had the ability to say, and you'd seen this happen to other people behind the scenes for years, and you said, that's not going to be me. You had the ability to prove that it was verifiably false, which no one is arguing. You do it.
Of course. Granted, I think there's a tactical difference between us as well, in that I think you play warrior and I play rogue. Again, over your heads, but Ian's sitting there going like, right.
I do have an original copy of Chrono Trigger. So
hell yeah.
Oh,
yes.
I would just put,
by the way, he met a girl who grew up on my block. Apparently, I have her copy from Super Nintendo, like Star Wars Return of the Jedi.
Yes, Elaine Stone.
She didn't speak a word of English when I knew her when she was young.
She's been holding on to that for a little while.
Okay, sorry.
Just straight up stole a game from a girl.
On the contract, just being totally transparent and not
English.
But to bring it back, like what would be the perfect
To be
contract?
fair, I don't think he spoke much English either.
I want to address what you were saying about, would I prove him wrong if I could? I suppose what happened differently for us
was that vitriolic.
If it was that vitriolic,
yeah.
I didn't. Granted, Daily Wire outed themselves, and they said it was because people assumed it was them. After I had a conversation, conversation with the Daily Wire, my determination was they do business in a way that I don't agree with, but I like that they're doing things that have a cultural impact on the positive. Thus, I'm going to build my thing the way I think it's supposed to be.
Right.
Let them make the things they make with the people who agree with being a part of that. And hopefully, even if they're not 100% in the right direction, if it's 1% producing cultural net positive, I'll just have to be the force that pushes it.
But what if it's 80% net negative?
That's your view, right?
I don't know. I think, well, again, the view should be the people the investors in our case, right? There are no other investors, right? I own 100% of my company. We've entered into licensing agreements where people have temporary ability to monetize the subscribers and the content therein, right? We still have all the content when we left the Blaze. We still have that because there was a period of time. The issue there is what we're talking about is penalizing people on behalf of big tech. Was that your impression? Because that's not the impression that's given. And you know what? There are a lot of things that you can get. And I really want this to be done. Just pledge that we won't penalize people on behalf of big tech. We can talk about it. Hey, there are ways to do it with Rumble. I know you've talked about a decentralized solution to people subscribing, right? And I think there's good with that. There are also issues because people have so many different places where they have to pay right now, and they kind of want to get one portal. Hopefully there's a way to figure that out. Here's what you do.
There's a way to figure that out.
If it's someone who's coming in his entire production house, I've been having contracts negotiated. You said you were in SAG 2000. So I was in since I was 12 years old and had agents negotiating contracts and term sheets.
I can hand you the wrenches.
Every time we do a live show. By the way, I'll be in Louisville, Kentucky, February 10th. I think we're adding a show on Thursday. You can go buy tickets on the website. Every time I do a live show, there's a term sheet. And the term sheet is, this is what happens with live shows. Okay. There's a minimum guarantee. And the minimum guarantee is no matter 5 people show up, if it's, your dad and your Aunt Tilly, we pay you this, and there's a percentage of the gate. And if you want more, if you're willing to bet on yourself, right, you say lower that guarantee and take a higher portion of the gate. I go in and say, don't give me a guarantee, and I'll just take the gate. And they sell their drinks, right? They end up making more money. We're giving them less risk. What you do is, Luke, to answer your question, you can present it if it's a production company where you want them to incur all of the risk, all of the costs. Can you do a rev split where there's upside for both sides? Or some people want security, right? We have 1099s who work at the company. We have employees. Some people want security, and so they become salaried and they get health insurance. They get a 401k. You can provide 2 options. You can do a rev split, or you can do an employee agreement for people who want to do that. In this case, they want to do employee type constraints. And again, none of this matters as far as I can't be clear enough. I said, take me off the table here. The issue is entirely the enforcement of punitive practices through mandate at the most powerful company. But you can do it those ways. And there are a million ways to skin a cat. You can make that work. And that's the way that it's done. We both know in the liberal cesspool that is Hollywood, where everyone is out trying to screw somebody. They still know that you can't do that. They still know that that's not
the decision to remain monetized rests with the creator and always stays there. It's not a part of the model because to your 51%, yes, that's fine unless we fast forward 5 years. 5 years from now, Daily Wire is undisputed #1, 5 million subscribers, and big tech turns the switch. Would it be better to course correct a little bit now with a little bit of pain, or would it be better to wait until it's too late?
It's better to do it now because Microsoft could buy Daily Wire tomorrow.
Yes.
It's very dangerous to consolidate.
That's a really good point.
Or BlackRock.
BlackRock.
What did Elon Musk
Rumble
prove
tomorrow?
with Twitter?
Like, Rumble is not safe. It's a private
it's-
company
no, I
that's
know.
all
Loan
centralized.
money,
Well, they're a public
and
company.
do whatever you
Here's the one
want.
thing that I like about, because look, Rumble tweeted out like, hey, we offer these non-restrictive contracts. I think was it France Right.
Yeah,
Rumble's
I
a
think it was
public
France.
company. Think of the balls it takes, where I think it was the government of France said you have to start changing content. And they said, right? When you're a public company and you tell an entire government, fine, ban us. That's the kind of balls that people are like. And these people, and by the way, the guy who runs is a Canadian, the CEO. He's not even, I don't think he's super conservative. He just sees the writing on the wall. Why did those people get it? Why? Because he's been under the, I would say, tyranny now. When you see someone like Trudeau, just because he does blackface and he can't throw a jab doesn't mean that he's not a tyrant, right? People have lived under that tyranny. They go, we can't let that happen here. So Rumble gets it. They
Hitler was a painter.
Communicate themselves with a wire brush. But the people who take money from hard-earned conservative Americans who are wondering how they can fight back, how they can have a voice, don't see it. Do they not see it? Or is it the business model, right? You can't have.
That's what I'm wondering. Did you feel like your buddy, and then what I mean, your buddy, like Jeremy, you and Jeremy are friends or friends or whatever, but that he lowballed you? He knows your value and he lowballed you, and you're like, dude, if you're going to do that to me, I'm going scorched earth. I'll do everything legal in my.
It wasn't the lowball. It wasn't the lowball. It was a, hey, look, let's just sit down and talk about how you can do this without mandating through punitive practices against, not some, according to him in his video, all conservative content creators. Let's find a different way, because there's no future in this. There's a lot there that's permissible, right? In business, money, I get it. Yeah, lowball, sure. And you know that. Everyone knows that. But what's really hard to deal with is there was a period, like I talked about with Gerald Note, where I was super depressed, felt kind of hopeless, because this has been a long time in the making. And you knock on one door and you have people you think are on your side. You know, it's no way.
Sorry,
this
my
is
mouse
how
is
it works.
everywhere.
And
4
then
screens. I can't
because you
keep
don't
up.
see behind the curtain. You hear that we're fighting back against big tech, and you see this offer, and you go, "Oh, there's no future here." And the response to this is not right has always been money, 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 money. I can't stress it enough. So it's not about the money.
So what is the future in your mind then? What needs to be done?
What first needs to be done is people to mean what they say. And if you are taking money from conservatives out there under the guise that you are fighting big tech, start fucking fighting big tech. Start with that. Okay. I don't know about and I know that when I say this, by the way, they're going to be 4 or 5 hatchet men.
You cannot fight big tech if your platform is built on big tech.
This is the first time Gerald's been here, because I'm like, look, you handle the finances more than I do. It's me. It's 2-on-1. It's 3-on-1. It's 4-on-1. And gee golly, we thought we were friends. And you know,
by the way, 48 on Rumble right now. Keep it going, ladies and gentlemen.
What I said. Andrew Klavan's one of my all-time favorite people. I think Jordan Peterson is unbelievable. I go to the wall for that guy. I think Ben Shapiro is brilliant. Never met Candace Owens. Michael Knowles, my experience with him, I don't know him as well. I really like him. I like a lot of these people.
Good singer.
Is he a good singer?
He played guitar too.
Well, he has that voice. I mean, Andrew Klavan, he told me
for all of you out there in Rumble and shit,
parent teacher appreciation.
Stick around.
Give you
we
an
got
apple
shit
and
to say.
This is how you talk. And it's genuine. It's genuine. Here's the thing. Keep doing it if that's what they want. I'm not going to, at a certain point, my tolerance will run out. So send 4, send 5. Certain point, don't send anyone you expect back in one piece.
But what will you make, right? You talked in the beginning, you're saying something about it's hard for everyone to just pay all across the board randomly to different people. Like if you want to support a creator, you're on one website, you're on another website.
Yes, yeah.
So
how would you subscription fatigue, right? You have the same with like Netflix.
All right, you know what?
So can I answer your question with a question to?
I got to do something real quick.
Here. That doesn't offend you.
Can you still hear that?
Yeah.
Like one.
Okay.
Boys and black.
There you go.
I love that there's national treasures.
What's your question?
My question for him is, because he said like this might be a solution. You have this idea, or you're creating an actual product. I don't know all of it.
Yeah.
Of a decentralized way to subscribe to people, because and also people who get to keep their subscribers. By the way, this isn't Daily Wire. It is industry standard in the conservative sphere. You don't get to know how many subscribers you have. You don't get to take them with you, which only hurts people who are paying if you end up leaving, if you end up not being with a network.
Yeah.
That's industry standard, not Daily Wire. Again, Stop Big Con was not just about Daily Wire. You don't even know. You don't even get to reach them. That is the standard, not just there. And you mentioned something before the show, and I'm a little ignorant as to what it is. Forgive me. You said it's like this decentralized ability for people to sort of an anti-Patreon is what I think you said.
Yeah, it is just basically doing what Patreon does, but without a Patreon middleman. So it'd be a software packet that you download, install on your computer, and then you can start uploading videos through the software packet to Rumble as a server or YouTube as a server, unlisted, the videos. And then people would go to your website where you have a front end hosted with this packet, and they can subscribe $10 a month. Then they can see on your website the unlisted videos from
Yeah.
the other sites. It's pretty rudimentary. It's
Why?
what Tim's using, a system like that. He's not using the tech.
That doesn't sound rudimentary at
Well, so
all. That was like Chip Douglas with a remote control.
Here's-
Like
here's-
it's basic cable stuff.
here's the
It's
idea.
incredibly complicated.
Here's the idea. Here's the
to
idea.
pull off.
The idea right now is that you're an independent creator.
Yeah.
You go to Patreon, you go to Locals.
Yeah.
You go to someone else's company,
Mhm.
you sign up, there's the infrastructure, you give them 10%.
Right.
I've done the math. 10% is steep, but they're trying to run a business, have employees. So I get it.
Yeah.
Sure.
So what we
I
were
got
talking
something
about
to
this a
do,
long
and I
time
don't
ago.
want this on stream. Sorry,
Make the
guys.
software. You get your own server space, your cost. You get your own domain, your cost. You install that software for free, open source, and boom, instantly your website is a clone of a
Kind of fucked
service
though.
website with an easy to use backend for you
Mhm.
that networks with anyone else who uses it. You can also blacklist certain sites from your site if you're like, I don't want my site to recommend this,
Skittles
show.
and rainbows.com.
Exactly.
Like,
Very nasty stuff right there. So, or it's just you let the algorithm recommend whatever the recommend, like similar words and phrases. So what this does is, if I go to your website and you want to be included in the network, people will see, and this could be bad for business. Some people might want to do it. They will see like recommended Timcast IRL episode with Steven Crowder and be like, oh, I'd like to watch that show too.
Mhm.
Creating. It's so YouTube's one of the powerful things about YouTube is that it recommends shows after shows.
Yeah.
And that recommendation
every single time you
algorithm,
watch one of my shows, it's Seth Meyers.
Oh, wow.
right.
We
And
get
so
Lex
YouTube,
Friedman.
this is my
do you?
point.
Yeah, everyone gets
That's
Lex.
way better than Seth Meyers.
But
Lex Friedman's good.
This is the point. It used to be legitimate. It used to be that if you watched Crowder, you get recommended similar shows or more Crowder. Now they're driving everyone away.
Right.
And so they're taking away the natural networking
Did you
marketing.
super chat?
Our idea was
Yes.
create it decentralized. No one gets a cut of your money. That's your business. You got to spend money on your bandwidth. That's your business.
Sure.
But it's free, open source, and it rips away from the centralization and creates.
So I really like that. Now, here's the one thing too that Gerald kind of
Well,
knows.
I tried to, but it ain't
What's always
showing.
been true north to me is the viewer, right? As a person watching, is how do they get the most value for their money? And there are so many places to subscribe right now.
It's too fragmented.
Yes, and but I also understand the danger of a centralized power.
Right.
But if there would be a way for kind of like you were talking about with Maker, for there to be an alliance where maybe there's some kind of a price break or discount if you get to subscribe to these other creators, right? So that you don't have to do $6 on a Patreon here or $5, on Locals here. And by the way, nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying people feel like there's this payment fatigue, this subscription fatigue. If we want to fight the left, right? Think about just what they call the stream with Batista. He's in this like canoe, talking about like Disney, ESPN, and what is it? Disney and Hulu, right? That's a value added. And I think this is what was so disheartening was really hoping that we could do that in the conservative movement where people can kind of get access to a portal and support the people that they want
Did
to.
it not go through?
I don't know.
Maybe
that
it's
possible.
taking too long.
But if there would be some way for the view, because for the viewer, what's ideal is to be able to get access to more people that they want rather than having it because the price adds up.
Right now,
it's hard.
It's like $10 for Tim, $10 for you. With this tech that I'm building, we haven't had the multi subscription system set up, but you could do something where it's like 10 for him, 10 for you, or 18 for both of you. Then you each get 9.
Right.
You'll eventually have to take some sort of loss discount if you're going to run a packet. Otherwise, it would just be 20
Right,
for
but you would
2.
hit critical
It's hard to
mass,
figure out that
right?
number,
You hit critical
too.
mass.
Right.
Yeah, it is. It's tough to figure it out. But there are ways to do it. Obviously, people on the left have done it to some degree. The worst thing that I will say, the thing that really is YouTube. Is it YouTube Red or YouTube Premium? What
That's
are they
some
called?
fucking.
Yeah,
I tell you what, though. You know what sucks about it? That's actually a really good deal. You get YouTube Music, which replaces Spotify. You get YouTube TV, which replaces cable and Sling, and you get HBO Max. You're like,
but they're
dude,
subsidized.
All right, I'll figure this out
they are
here in a
subsidized,
second.
but guess
Hold
what?
on. Hold
So are
on.
these companies on the right.
All right.
But they're
Do it again.
subsidizing it in a way that is
I'll tell
not foundationally sound for a move forward.
Let me tell you something that really
I feel like this should require hallucinogens going forward. Like, man, this
I'm
is
so happy to if you're interested. We'll
something.
go to a mountain somewhere.
He's game.
Let me tell you guys something that is kind of crazy to me, and people don't believe. There are no investors in Timcast. There's only me as the principal of the entire company, sole owner, sole board member, president, CEO, treasurer, chairman, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Their staff, I have a COO. We've got people who work here, but I own literally all of it, control all of it with no outside investment. It's literally just I started
and
making.
you're not even Jewish.
Yeah,
I'm just saying
it's
as a
the
joke to
Korean.
the anti-Semites in there. By the way, we're not talking about no one
Well,
we're
that's
talking about
the
is
point.
even Jewish. Just to be
That's a point I make all the time. There are people who have been successful in media who aren't. I don't know why they have that conspiracy belief.
Yeah.
But it was shocking for me to find out that these big alternatives only exist because some powerful industrialist or billionaire decided I'm going to spend money, but that money comes with their influence. Now, the only issue I have with that is that we don't know what their influence is.
And
if you come to timcast.com, you know the whole influence and driving force behind this is literally just me. If you're a customer here as a member or whatever, you're supporting us, it is literally me in charge of everything. But a lot of these other companies, you don't know who's behind the scenes putting money in and saying, hey guys, I want to see this. I understand how businesses work. I understand how investment works, but you won't know.
And if you knew, it's ball retractingly terrifying. I mean that. There's some information, again, that you're not going to open third parties. It's probably going to be coming out in the next 6 months, year, that will shock people, startle people. I could tell you that, but would I have to provide receipts, and would that be a betrayal? That's the issue, right? I've given you a lot of information that you can publicly audit, and I think that's important. I'm not going to pull people in. Like I said, Gary said you can
So
use
why
it.
did
I
this
can't show you
stream
the
drop
3,
off
4,
Rumble
5
and then
other
go private on
instances
Rumble?
just in the last 2
Not
years.
sure,
That's
it was
happened.
weird.
It
Weird,
is
like
absolutely
sketchy,
terrifying.
not a
What was the
good
crazy
move
idea you were
for
saying? I thought you
Rumble
were like,
or
I thought you were gonna like.
Crowder
I thought you just came up with a business plan or something. It
No,
seemed
no.
like
Oh, you're talking about
Crowder's
Rumble?
crazy to me.
No,
That's
no,
not
no,
so
no.
crazy.
He
It's
was
the only
only
reason why
doing
I
like
guess
the
that's why
first
I'm
20
throwing
minutes or
it.
something like that.
What's crazy to me is that
Are you talking
we've
about
gotten what
mine?
we have without that
Yeah.
when seemingly no
That's
one
true.
else does.
It's really
But
easy
here's
to-
what I want to say, Stephen.
Really
I'm
easy,
looking.
dude.
I'm looking at. I don't think it's really
to have the
easy.
website rolling with subs.
So for
There's some bad
for the
maybe
Rumble
like
chat
people-
here,
Oh, yeah,
are you talking about mine?
One thing I should say, we've had a lot of
Drop off
offers
Rumble and then go
run this
private,
program
or are you
across
talking about
the
Crowder's?
right? Offering to give us better rates as well. So there are a lot of people who've come forward. Like I said, it's not about
your super chat.
the highest offer. Just
But here's what I want to say.
Yeah.
I'm
And I
going to
mean
say
it.
this right in front of every single person. I think you're going to make $100 million a year.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely insane.
I think I'm right.
But I would never demand that. Just to be clear,
You see what bar you're setting for
Yeah.
me? Did I tell you my name?
Yes, for crying out loud.
I-
You're
okay.
trying to-
Yeah.
you're trying to give me
Hold
a
up.
heart attack.
I've seen your numbers. I know.
Yeah,
Look,
Crowder's
we've got
stream on this
175,000
was
people
only
watching
supposed to be
on a
like
show that
20
only
minutes
gets
or so. They've already done cut the
45,000.
feed and everything.
130,000 live
yeah,
viewers.
that's where that came from.
Quadrupling the live viewership we get because you came to talk about something that is important to you.
Yeah.
You have people who are not only fans of your content, who are entertained by it, but also believe in you. Looking at your Mug Club numbers, I think you launch this thing. You maybe not. Look, it's gonna snowball rolling downhill. I think you launch this thing and you're making $3 to $5 million per month right off the get go.
And by the way, you mean the whole production company,
Whole production company, not you
which,
personally,
which
your staff, your
and I'm at a
employees,
fork
and
in the
your
road.
budgets.
I'm at a fork in the road, which is
You're gonna need a lot of money for bandwidth. You're gonna get a lot of people to sign up.
I could walk away.
Yes.
And I understand this is a
Yes,
loss to
you
me.
will.
The only way people will 100% believe what I say and that there's no ulterior motive, which is what I tried to do in the negotiations, like take me off the table. This is why this is a sticking point, is if I walk away from this forever, is if I never monetize again, and I just go back off into the sunset, just, do stand up, maybe do a once a week show, something like that. So I continue stepping out the venues. And I could do that.
Fucking do
And
it.
Gerald knows that I strongly considered that at one point. And I think he was the one, if I'm not mistaken, who said, like, yeah, but then if you do that, then this will just all blow over in 2 months and it'll be the same problem. So I get
Yeah,
the question of authenticity.
he actually
and
cut the
but I
feed
would
on
ask
his.
if
It
this
was
is
only
the
supposed to be
easy
20
decision,
minutes
if
on
this is the
Crowder's.
easy route to take. Could have just taken the money, shut up. Could have gone off. And I don't think it's 100 million. I think you're absolutely insane.
No, I'm not.
I think there's I think he slipped you.
Nope. No, look, we know about the Daily Wire's subscriber numbers. They have 1 million paying subscribers. It's between $7 and $13 per month to be a member there. They've talked about their yearly revenues.
Wait, it's $13 a month. Okay, I didn't.
For their video content, I believe it's $13.
They run
a
some
month.
promos and stuff like that, but yeah.
Yeah,
different tiers.
right. And it's like, look, I think
Luke wants to talk about the IRS.
This was only
I
supposed to be
think-
20, 30 minutes
An Epstein
segment,
Max
and it's still going.
I'm saying, for one, the easy route for you would have absolutely been sign the deal, take the money and shut up, let everyone else worry about all the problems and go sit on the beach with the coconut and just do the bare minimum.
Yeah.
But I think
Phone it in.
if you go the hard way, which running a company, especially with, I think, the size of memberships you're going to have, is going to be very difficult and time consuming, but just, make Gerald do all the hard heavy.
Well, if here's the thing.
Sorry,
if
Make Gerald do all the hard work.
then there's got to be other people, right? We have to have other shows.
Gerald's got wine to drink.
Again, just gone off and done it and just kept Mug Club. But Gerald, I said, like, look, either I'm going to leave at this point, or we can't just complain and bitch.
Yeah.
We have to do it better, and that's kind of where we are. And by the way, we still haven't decided what it is that we're going. It's a tough decision to make.
Yeah.
I own 100% of Mug Club. always have. We did the Mug Club Forever, so we now know how many people are out there. You know, we were really clear. We're like, do not go to Mug Club Forever unless you are currently in Mug Club. We're going to send out, we double capture, double opt in, culled the list, so we know. We're like, don't go. And is it a newsletter? No. Are you going to get any spam? Nothing. Any updates? Only when and where and if Mug Club returns. And this is a little bit of the young Frankenstein. Ovaltine? Nothing.
Let me ask you. Do you think that when you are going to launch something independent, it's going to be Mug Club, but then you're going to add on shows?
Why is everything
do you think you'll be bigger
so
than
fucking
Daily
slow
Wire?
today?
I don't care.
No. Real question. Based on your memberships, based on the amount of views you get, do you think you will be bigger than? I'm not saying this as
it would if I decided that let me answer it this way. I've wanted to be done with this by the time I'm 40 as far as hosting the show on air. The last thing you want to do is overstay your welcome, and then move to a, I wouldn't say like necessarily like a Harvey Weinstein or like a Bruckheimer, but more like a Suge Knight.
How old are you now?
So, and I want to be able to pass that torch.
When's your birthday?
July.
Okay.
Yeah. So I want to be able to pass that torch. Right now, there is
Not
no
a
ability
problem
to, because
upon
you
the
now
horizon.
realize there's no ability for people to come up and do.
We got a
It would
lot
be really
of shit
hard for
to
you to
say
do what
after
you
the
do now
fact.
today. You know that, right?
Yeah.
And
harder and harder.
And it'd be
every day.
harder.
Yeah.
It'd be impossible for someone to do what I do. I don't want to pull the ladder up behind me. So I want to be able to move into a production role, but really what motivates me is being able to pass that mantle and make a difference. I guarantee you, if we were to do it, it'd be within striking distance
I
of the
think
big
Tim
boys.
is already on Rumble too. I mean,
Which I'd be fine with,
Yeah,
but
he
as
is.
long as we
That
do
as well.
something that we believe in. And I promise
doesn't
we
do
will
it
never
as much as you do.
demand people's YouTube monetization. We will never punish them if they're
and
not.
damn sure don't bring the
And it
crowd
has
to
to be
Steven
something fair, and it
does.
has to be us not shortchanging the investor, meaning the people, Mug Club. It's entirely independent, paying us to fight for what they believe. Whatever those numbers are, I'd accept them.
I'll tell you my prediction, which who knows could be worthless.
Nostradamus hit me.
You launch subscription service, independent Mug Club. You get 300,000 hard signups at 10 or more per month. I mean, it was $10 a month for a lot of people. It's going up because of inflation, because people need raises and things like that. But let's say you did $10 a month. You're looking at like 3 million in memberships with no ad reads at all. Let's say you do programmatic reads in the podcast version, meaning you, Steven, never read a single ad. Then you're looking at another, based on your traffic, I'd estimate another $2 to $5 million per year, not per month. So right off the bat, you're looking at $40 million per year. Then here's what happens. Steven Crowder then offers big players really good contracts. No BS, no fees, none of that. Out the gate, it's a legitimately good contract that gives your business a small cut, but gives them the lion's share for the work they produce. They're going to say, oh, I'm signing with Mug Club. The terms were incredible. I mean, I was going to make money off the deal. The company's going to grow.
The draft with the hats.
That's right. I'm getting a lot of money. Then what's going to happen is it's going to make it very difficult for the big con, these other big conservative companies, to sign these deals. When a young creator says, I appreciate the offer, it's tempting, but Crowder's offering me twice the money with no setbacks.
Yeah. I would really, really like it. Genuinely. And Gerald knows this. If there's someone else in the space who handles that shit, because I'm not a business guy. I'm not a business guy.
Yeah.
I'm a guy who outpunted his coverage, right? You can go back and watch with a blue bed sheet, who was doing stand-up comedy and acting, and then had my back up against the wall, right? I would really like it if there was someone else who already has the money, who already has that ability to do it. If they can't, okay, I'll carry that torch. But I don't know. Maybe there's someone out there. Are there enough good men and enough people left? Because that's not the best use of my time. Like, it takes a lot of time to do a Goodwill Hunting. Do you have any idea how hard it is to make Schindler's List funny when you're doing a parody? You know what I mean?
No, it's pretty easy.
Time is better spent. And that's where the time, by the way, of all the creators is best spent.
Yeah.
But
I don't know either
they're
upon
being
the
forced to
horizon.
make this decision. You know, you're a creative
I don't
type.
know
You
why
want to
he's
deal
not,
with numbers
but
and back end and
Glad
business.
y'all are
It's
here.
exhausting.
Yeah, I have to do it.
I
I
know.
know I don't want to do it. I have to, so I'm building this technology. But
Right.
boring. That's what Jeremy Boring
And why do you have
is
to do it?
Why? Because we need a new subscription service for creators.
It shouldn't fall upon you, though.
I have two
But
questions.
they're willing
Who
to do
else
it.
is going to do it?
No,
Yeah,
no.
let's do it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
If not you, who? If not me, who? If not now, when? That's the.
And shout out to Philip Fisher, the guy building this stuff. Pure genius. I'll introduce you to him soon.
And
Philip,
I
what's
will
happening,
say, and I will say to everybody listening, it's you. It will only ever be you. When you see a burning building, you think, who's going to call this in? No. No one's going to call it in. It's going to be you.
Right.
I once watched, when I was 16 years old, I saw an old lady at a bus stop flip over, land on her back, and I paused and said, I have no idea what to do. what is happening? I look around and I'm like, I got to figure this one out. And I ran full speed to a building and just screamed, call 911, a lady's hurt. There's nobody else. You can't sit back and just cross your fingers and hope someone else will take care of the problem.
Right.
Yeah, you got to be a hero of your own story. I just wanted to ask.
That makes me feel terrible.
And that's the problem with the silent majority.
Would you guys be open to doing like competitions or contests for
you
new
all
talent?
think
and
every bit of that somebody else is going to take care of.
In the comment section, can you guys clear up what's happening in that situation? Some people are saying
going for your comment.
Yeah, well, that's the thing I think Candace brought up, right? Again, there's a difference between roping in third parties versus single party consent. I think he tweeted out what happened where he left, right? Not gay Jared. He tweeted out that he left. It was his own decision. We did a whole send off with him in a video montage. You know, this works with like conspiracies. And sometimes, look, there's also a middle ground where there's, for example, like, what is the email, by the way, if people are talking about shows?
I think it's creators at Loud.
Yeah, creators at Loud. So that's actually not a bad idea. A contest. If we, you know, but the reason I didn't want to do it is because I didn't want to think that's like, hey, this is why we're doing this right now. But we do have a place where people can reach out. The challenge is like there's completely controlling contracts, right, that own your name, image, likeness, and your platforms that you already built in perpetuity. Okay, that's an extreme example. That's big con. Then you have people who are like, hey, I have no experience. I've never done a show, but I really think I could do it well if you give me money. That's a situation where you'd be incurring all the risk. There is a middle ground. And I think what needs to happen is if we do, I'm not going to be in the business of just creating shows from the ground up, but there are people out there who say, hey, look, I have a channel that's doing relatively well. I keep hitting the ceiling that is YouTube saying we need you to play this kind of ball. I'm suffering from the advertising rates, the sponsorship rates dropping across the board. And I can just be, you know, the gasoline on that fire to back them up. Really, why would you sign with a network if they don't have your back? That's the only reason to. Otherwise, be independent, right? What is the upside at that point? That's all we want to be. And whatever subscribers you generate, you keep. That's the only way I would be able to do it.
It's really publicity. These big networks get their faces seen, but if you can do it without that, but
so
I'm really
people are still asking: is there an NDA? That's what people are asking.
There are NDAs to everyone, just like here, right? To sign a waiver when I come. If you come into our studio,
I mean, standard business practice.
Yeah, you can't come in and tell people where the studio. Too. I mean,
we have
you guys have had
of course.
Yeah,
if only for location, it would be worth it.
Also because he walks around with pants half the time.
We have NDAs because we work on projects, and in order, it's really complicated. One of the simplest reasons is like we don't want you leaking information about us. Locations
I have pants on
but also projects we're working on cost a lot of money to do preliminary research. If someone then goes to a competitor or a media company and says, here's what, you know, Timcast is working on all their stuff.
How much do you think Joe Biden's butt wiper gets paid?
Of course.
Project.
More than you'll make in a year.
Of course. And you can have people stealing, you know, creative content.
I don't know, try to find out what Candace Owens' contract is.
Thing that happens, right? The big boys, they go, oh, that really works. Hey, let's do exactly that. Put $25 million behind it just to promote it. Now it's ours.
I was thinking about these. Let me mention perpetuity clauses real quick before we go super chats, because you brought them up a couple times.
Yeah.
Fuck dog nasty and need to be removed immediately from modern entertainment contracts because deepfakes. They're going to be able to take someone's perpetuity face, deepfake it to make it look real, and have it say stuff that the person doesn't agree with.
By the time I'm dead and you're going to my mausoleum, I'm going to be hawking Black Rifle fucking coffee.
Let's go to super chats. We're going to read super chats from you guys. A lot of questions for Crowder and stuff like that. And then
we'll just. I'm going to have to go to the restroom.
You can go to that.
I'm going to go too. I got to pee.
All right, let Luke go. Then
you can't go together. You can't cross streams.
There's multiple bathrooms here. Don't worry. There's one behind you. I'm going to go out the door right there.
But I mean, look, if you guys want to go together, I have no issue with that. I mean,
I know you're more
progressive.
Get promoted by YouTube now.
All right, let's read. All right.
We can co-opt the rainbow from God after Noah.
Smash the like button. Become a member at timcast.com. We're going to record the uncensored portion once we wrap up the live portion, which I can only imagine will be a lot crazier, but we're going to read some of these super chats. We have from Bren Ben. Remember, guys, everyone agrees that you need a shotgun. Even Biden is pro firing 2 blasts outside the house. Please, for the love of God, do not fire a shotgun into the air like Biden.
Highly illegal.
Yes.
Seriously.
Yes.
I can't believe Biden incited violence. He incited people to commit crimes.
Yeah. You could shoot it into the ground. Don't do that either. But that's the better of the two options.
He thinks it's like Elmer Fudd runner. Like like, by the way, just it's the silliest. And that shell. I mean, sorry, that shell. That whatever it is, whether it's buckshot or whether it's a slug, has to come down at some point.
Aurora Isabella says Steven is so hot.
Well, she's nearsighted.
Or whichever part would make.
I mean,
it
I'm sitting
weird.
next here to Gerald. By the way, it's a little scary, like how giants. It's a land of Gerald, and then you saw Kevin there downstairs. My friend, he's just like really. We have a lot of big people. We just went to a Japanese restaurant here nearby, like a Japanese steakhouse.
Yeah,
and all the reviews were like the food is great, the service is terrible. We couldn't all fit in a booth.
It was difficult.
You're at that point where everything's like it has to be custom.
This has been my whole life.
I know.
Though. I'm kind of used to it. I don't fit in.
When I shook your hand and met you, you stood up as you were doing it.
Oh,
It was like, stay in character.
All right, here's
like where the wild things
Kristen
are.
Baker says, will Crowder's company pay his creators guaranteed big money regardless of the revenues they bring in while they let their freak flag fly?
Time out. I don't agree with the premise. Nobody said it was regardless of revenues you bring in. It just said it could not be tied to big tech monetization and being on these platforms. If you're bringing in 5 subscribers versus 500,000, that's a much different thing.
Yeah.
And sponsors versus no sponsors, that's a much different thing. Nobody said that they couldn't make money, and nobody said Steven had to be given a guaranteed production contract no matter what money he brought in. Right. They were completely and conveniently leaving that off of the table and saying, this is a lot of money, and if you lose anything, that's not going to happen.
To a rev split with upside, right? Again, this is what happens in the entertainment industry. Every time, whether it's a band at a venue, right? You do a minimum guarantee, which is going to be lower, which mitigates your risk, or you get the gate. You do a rev split with upside. You see any upside there? Is there any portion there that says, by the way, if you actually do have the 300, which is well over 300,000 people who said we're going to be in Mug Club, if you actually do hit that, you get to share in this. Is there any upside there?
They offered only negatives.
It's 100% ownership. And by the way, they're the only ones who demanded 100% of merch revenue. That's not even standard. So 100% of merch. Hey, you can do the math right now. You just saw the sponsors. You just saw the live numbers. Yeah, that's what sponsors know about. How much can you guess can be generated from a single sponsor with the kind of numbers? If you're doing 1.7, 1.9 million screens per show for 35 minutes.
What's the standard rate? It's like
the point is it's a lot.
Yeah.
But the point is 100% of sponsors, 100% of subscribers, 100% of merch revenue, 0 upside, but 110% penalty. That's very different.
The premium brands charge like a $40 CPM.
Yeah.
And then what we found out 10 years ago was their view numbers were inflated because they were buying the rights to garbage network traffic views that don't matter and claiming it was a premium view.
So you know that what I'm talking about. Yeah. And you know it's a problem in our industry, right? And you know that then sponsors get churned and burned.
I think it's fraud.
Yeah. And you know that it happens, right?
Yeah. So this was a big problem. Sponsors were like, the return isn't there. And they're wondering why they start laying all these people off from these digital media companies. It's like, look, man, if the sponsor thinks they're buying gold standard view, but for every 10 views, 1 is gold standard and 9 is like clickbait garbage.
Right.
They're wasting money, and I think it's fraud. But
which is what Elon was saying about the bots on Twitter.
Right? You want one punch knockout power. You don't want to all. Some people can be volume punchers. Some people can be power hitters. You need to be able to allow for both. That's all.
We got a very important one.
Speaking of merge,
we got to read
upon the horizon.
Northern
Speaking
Liberty
of
Group
merge,
says,
Crowder
can
should
Steven just say
piss off
one
YouTube
good thing about
urinal
Canada?
mats.
I'll take Alberta or anything. There are real conservatives and patriots up here, and we did have a rebellion against the Brits. It just failed.
Or even just the sticker to help men.
Now it is. But I will say this: a lot of people don't know bagels came through Montreal first.
Really?
Bagels?
Yes,
Where'd they
bagels.
come? Where from?
That's it. I'm fighting.
So that's it's original. But it came through
Bagels
Montreal.
from Montreal.
Not from Montreal, there would be no bagels in North America.
Well, that would be better. It's our French connection.
Yeah. No, I will say this:
There'd be
best
less
restaurants in the world in Montreal, probably pound for pound. And there are a lot of great Canadians. We could probably get the uncensored version; it'll be boring here. But if you look at the Quebec separatism, a lot of that is very similar to the taxation without representation and a rugged sort of individualistic spirit. But then they also wanted to have the language police. Do you know about that? La Ligue des Langues, where literally
the Spaghetti Gate. You know Spaghetti Gate?
Is this about a restaurant or a diner?
Yeah, it was an Italian restaurant, and spaghetti was spaghetti, and the language police said, "Why isn't it in French?"
That's not French. It's Ticalis, or like it's Italian. Like we don't care. Spell it spaghetti with an E.
Yes, they said put spaghetti in there, like, but there's no French for it, and they were like, "Doesn't matter. You have to have it in French."
It was a language police. By the way, also a lot of French Canadians horribly racist.
Have you seen the skit, the language police skit that went viral? It's 2 guys are in like an alley and they're like talking, and the cops walk up and they're like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And they're like, "What?" And like, hands against the wall. They're speaking French. They're like, against the wall or whatever. I can't say. And I
don't expect you to be trilingual.
No, but they put the guys up against the wall.
Speak French, yeah.
And then they're frisking them. And then he pulls out a bag of weed and he goes, "Sorry," and he puts it back. And then he keeps going and he goes, "What's this?" And he pulls out an English dictionary and he goes, "Ha ha!" That's not mine, I swear.
That sounds about right. You know, it's funny, actually. Like, you talk about that. Like, no, I do speak French. It was actually, I learned to read and write French first. I spoke both. They thought I was learning disabled. They thought I was an idiot up until the 4th grade because I had to do the rule in Canada, and it comes from something they call pure laine, which means pure wool, where they want pure French European blood. They don't necessarily do it anymore, and it ended up backfiring because a bunch of Haitians and Vietnamese would come in because I speak French, and they were like, God,
when he took that game from that girl, it was like 2 mutes talking to each other.
Laws. But the issue is if you have one parent born in Quebec, whether they're English or not, you have to go to French immersion schools. So it wasn't that I was that dumb. It's that I was having to learn geography, history, math in French and was falling behind. And when they finally through a loophole said, hey, if you do it as a temporary resident because your dad's American, this principal who really did probably save my education in grade school. 4th grade, they switched me to English. And then, you know, I made it to like a B- student, like, which means that I won't be a genius, but I won't be a mass shooter. I'm right in the middle of the pack. You never hear he was all right.
We'll try and get some more super chats. We have this one from Jeremy Higgins. Jordan Peterson's daughter made a video today talking about negotiating her father's contract with Daily Wire. She said Daily Wire only owns the content on the site for the length of the time of the contract, and afterward it returns to Jordan. I believe that sounds incorrect.
I don't know. I do know that Jeremy said these are the terms of everyone, and I do know what's in that contract, and I do know they wouldn't change it. That's all I know. Jeremy
said if we paid to produce it, we own it. That would mean that.
But they don't produce it. I produce it. Yeah, it's a licensing agreement.
Right?
All of the costs. If I were an employee, if that's a salary, sure. But if it's my product, does TriStar own? I don't know if Home Alone. I know Home Alone was Columbia and someone else. Does TriStar own Columbia's portion of that? If they both come in as production, you know this, right in the entertainment industry, it's very, very common for production houses to come together. Does one get to say no? We own it. No. At that point, afterwards, it switches. Maybe you have an agreement, and by the way, that's something that we've worked into every contract that we've done. So I don't know what
this is a very, very important.
Sorry, Gerald probably knows better.
Oh, Jeremy mentioned that everyone has different contracts.
Okay,
that he does different ones.
This is very important from Daniel Marks.
He did say though these terms, the big tech terms, right? Again, this is just these are demanded of all creators. He said that.
So just very important here. Daniel Marks says Steven Crowder is the chaotic, good, high charisma barbarian in Dungeons and Dragons.
Is that some charismatic? That's nice.
Is that
wild? Super charisma.
Would you
chaotic good for sure? Is that good? Like Robin Hood?
Oh,
like willing to like evil laws, willing to forego evil laws for the betterment.
I
of
like
humanity.
the analogy of Robin because people think Robin Hood was a socialist. No, Robin Hood was stealing from the people who overtaxed.
Yeah, it was
gave back to the people. Yes,
you don't strike me as a barbarian though.
It depends. I would have
maybe a barbarian.
That's what we were saying the whole time. Horizon,
loud mouth, like in the front lines, like I'm going to make noise to get it done.
No, I'm kind of a reluctant warrior.
We prayed a lot about this before we went down.
Chat.
Like it was agonizing.
I even restarted my phone and
sick
everything.
kind of decisions because of course you don't want to have to do this.
Charismatic. I would maybe you're a paladin, except that for the chaos, paladins generally are lawful. But I don't know. I'm just talking about video games.
Yeah, I don't know.
Upon Horizon has a point.
Let me read this one from.
That's what we've been saying now.
Tim is not asking the hard questions. Crowder lacks integrity. Name one creator Crowder launched. He has done the exact opposite. Not Gay Jared.
Upon the Horizon says if they, DW, wanted 100% of the merch product revenue, they should be responsible for production costs for creators' approval of products. Yes.
Where no one would leave. But then we realize that like people, sometimes it's just not always the right fit. And people can go on and do something that they're more happy with. Again, we did a whole send off with Not Gay Jared. We've had other people too who've been on, sometimes it's amicable, sometimes it's not. Sometimes there's issues, but in Not Gay Jared's case, the guy left and I wish the guy the best. He tweeted it out. So again, this is the problem, right? This is the problem with people gaslighting. It's a tactic of the left. And there's going to be 4-on-1. It's going to happen no matter what. I'm calling it now, just like I called what was about to happen. And they're going to shift the narrative to something else. And they're going to rope other people in. And this is why people don't speak out. It's why good people don't run for office. Think about the Stormy Daniels, which, by the way, I have no idea with Donald Trump, but so many people came out and so many stories that were proven verifiably false. It's slinging mud. It's personal. It's not what you hear me do. This can all end. We all just pledge we're not going to do the enforcement of big tech. No one is perfect, at least of all me.
At 9:10, I launched a poll. At 8 o'clock, I launched a poll.
What time is it? It's like you're going to this time warp in here.
That's right. Yeah. It's crazy, right? Who is right? 36 minutes ago, 62,000 votes. Crowder, 63%. Daily Wire, 17%, with 20% abstaining from the vote.
How long ago was that?
This was 36 minutes ago with 62,421 votes.
I abstained.
Pretty big sample.
So I don't think anyone's right.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, there are genuinely a lot of people who are like, you know, they may not like what the Daily Wire is doing, but they like that it's a cultural force in the other direction.
We need both. I do think we need these monolithic centralized systems in coordinates with decentralized content creators, and then eventually they'll start licensing work and stuff. And
I understand. Just don't say you're fighting big tech.
But you made a good point, Gerald, about
not you. I'm talking about people doing
it. In 10 years, it could be solidified that there's no competition, and then they go the other direction. Yep. Let me read this one because I have to agree. Kid Truck says, "Don't give money often, but the quote, 'We know what's in the box killed me. Nearly choked on my coffee, a Crowder mug. Hope eventually the hostilities can settle, and Louder with Crowder can show that standing on principle can be profitable." The what's in the box was I wrote on the
Johnny Boy who you met downstairs. That was the hardest I'd ever seen him laugh. I won't the second artist. It was really the second artist. The second artist is when, again, I'm not insulted, but when Ben was saying, like, you know, Steven Crowder betrayed and he's a piece of shit and all this stuff, and like, and I have to tell you about Birch Gold. He was laughing so hard when that happened. It was the box comment, and that was the second hard. I'm like, John, what are you laughing at? He's like, they had to do live reads. And like
during the rant.
During the rant.
That was the thing. It was the ranting on how bad
That's what I was saying on Friday.
Again, there's nothing wrong with people who do radio on TV. Right.
That's right.
And there's nothing, but again, you know, that's not, I can't do 4 or 5 commercials the way we do them each day, whether it's a Good Rancher commercial, whether it's a whole film series. You know, Walther, we've done a parody of every major horror film, and it's, you know, horror films don't work when you have a Walther. We can't do that and do it 5 times a day. And it fell into deaf ears. I'm like, look, we're just saying, hey, more people pay far more for one spot. Just let us keep doing the sketches, the kind of material that people have invested in. And this is the model. There needs to be, I'm not saying that can't be a model, though you can't enforce big tech. I'm saying that there can't
I am so tired of shit not working today
for everyone, because we're not all out. And then we bitch about how the power that Hollywood has because they allow creatives the ability to be creative. And it really is. Look, there is more diversity. And I'm not just talking about diversity as far as, you know, hitting the right demographics. I'm talking about people doing different kinds of content. We're the only ones doing what we do. And I would love to see 10 more people doing it. And I see it as a huge win that Ben was streaming on Rumble today.
Huge.
And I would, if he comes over on Rumble, and by the way, not just Rumble, but do both, and just cleans our clock, I hope there's 10 more of him and 10 more of me.
You talking about Ben Shapiro?
So this is
it's great. It was great. I'm glad to see it, and I still would love to see. Just don't say you're fighting big tech when you're enforcing big tech by mandate. That's
David. David Minier says, "I'm happy to spend $100 to tell Crowder he's a whiny baby. Daily Wire won this fight. Wasn't even close."
Okay.
You know,
he spent $100.
Can't change.
Yeah.
And then you made that money.
Yes,
that's a win. Good for you.
75% of it or something.
$70 YouTube took 30.
Good for you.
Or more. I take a lot from the super chats.
So that should change too with these platforms. You should get all the revenue, all the super chat revenue should go directly to you.
You know, when I read the one where they said I'm not asking hard questions, I'm not here to.
I mean, they are
to ignore people who have criticisms and want their voices to be heard. I want to make sure there's a substantive conversation, and I read if people are happy or unhappy.
Sure.
Thomas says Brett Cooper, the youngest employee, said she doesn't have the demonetization penalties. Mm-hmm. This seems to invalidate Crowder's point.
Candace said that she recognized the clauses in her own contract. And right. Jeremy said that they are in the contract. And this is the one thing, they've never addressed it beyond, well, we have to make money. But again, how are you making money off of penalizing someone for being demonetized when they haven't been monetized for years when they come in? So it'd be one thing if everyone said it. They said at the top, no, this is for everybody. Candace said, I recognize those clauses in the contract. Brett Cooper saying it's not.
That's why I had to say something.
But that was a sticking point here. There was no offer after that. And it just, if someone said, hey, sure, we can change
I guarantee you that same shit is in her fucking contract. But she straight up lied.
Did you guys have
to try and prove a point?
All your Mug Club subscribers and like the number of them and all
because
that before
why
you went
would
into talks?
Everybody else has had the same ones.
I would have based my entire contract off of that.
She's
not
smallest fucking voice in there. And you're going to tell me
problem was that we didn't have a real good way. That's why we had to launch Mug Club Forever, is to make sure that we had everybody who was in Mug Club or wanted to sign up for it.
Unless there's something in the back
end. It's industry standard where they don't tell you, and they don't even necessarily have to tell you your
I'll leave it at that.
It doesn't have to be.
You take it you want.
That's why I showed some numbers there off the record where you can do an estimate.
Mud.
Absolute baseline minimum is $300,000.
That's because Blaze had to, on the contract with Blaze, said they're going to keep that data, and so only they knew. Is that what?
Well, I can address that. not going to address necessarily specific terms that were in that contract.
Because if you sign something that says you won't talk about it, I don't.
Yeah.
It's not the case with the term sheet.
Exactly. Right.
So I'll make the claims. It looks like that happened. I don't know.
Well, you can enter in your email at Mug Club first so we don't lose touch with you. But we had a good idea based on Gerald, you can.
I think
this is the thing, right? This is the problem with contracts. And I understand there's a big difference between an NDA and you're asking. It is, I will say this, it is industry standard. I don't know of any, except for, Rumble tweeted that out. I don't know how it works with locals where they said I think they said if you generate subscribers, you can take your subscribers.
They're yours to begin with. They're never the company's, from what I understand.
But industry standard it's opaque by design.
Yeah. I think the only company that can actually offer the deal that you keep your members is Rumble.
Yeah.
So I think Rumble's doing a bunch of deals with people, and I'm pretty sure those deals are while we have you signed, the revenue comes to us.
Mm-hmm.
When the term ends, the membership revenue is yours.
Yeah.
It's a part of your account that you own, and we've no longer licensed it. For these other companies, there's no way to effectively take a portion of your members and put them on a different website. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's also what you're talking about with this sort of decentralized tool that you're discussing, right? It sort of solves that problem a little bit.
Yeah, the front end part of it. Like Rumble's the great thing is it's a back end service where it hosts. Like Daily Wire, I don't think they have a host. Do they host their own data? You guys?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, so that's challenging. If you're just a front end facility that you're just kind of making money off the personalities themselves, not the actual data. But if you control the data, then you can give it back to people. And
I want to try and just read as many as we can. We the People says I was abstain in the poll earlier, but the second half I voted now in favor of Steven Crowder fight back. Yeah, so this is interesting. When the story first broke, we did a poll. 85% Crowder is right. Very small percentage in favor of the Daily Wire. We didn't have the abstain in it. Candace Owens comes on the show. It then dropped down to like 55 to 60% Crowder is right, 40 or so percent Daily Wire is right. We did the show today. Obviously, you guys directed a lot of your fans to the show, so there's a big swing in your favor. But the second poll more dramatically swung in your favor.
Well, so did the biggest, most powerful conservative network in the world, according to how they their press releases, Daily Wire. I would assume that when their people come on, it would be the same thing. I shouldn't even. Here's the thing. I shouldn't even be in the same ballpark. What you guys are saying, like, hey, how do you think? I'm a bum. These other, when we're talking about big con, they're just worse bums. In other words, there's such a dearth of creative content out there that I'm even within striking distance with no seed money, certainly not multimillionaires or billionaires front loading it. It shouldn't even be close. And I can tell you now, live number. Hey, Tim, let me ask you,
rivals Daily Wire as a company.
When you're talking about like people adding.
Oh, you can't cheat the
him himself.
You can cheat your live viewer
it's tougher
numbers.
though, right?
Yeah, it's look, when it comes to like you could buy a YouTube video. In fact, anyone can advertise any YouTube video.
Right.
You can go in Google Ads, take a video from some random little kid, pay for 100,000, 10,000 views if you want.
Upon the horizon, you got it right.
That would be a great gift. I mean, we should do like a make-a-wish.
It's a curse.
No, I mean, it's a make-a-wish. Like some kid, like,
I mean,
I'm turning that down for a second.
But there was like one
dark.
kid.
No, I mean, I didn't.
Upon the horizon, exactly. Regarding being squelched by bending the knee to big tech, having to self-censor by a conservative platform, that does not work. That's not having conservatives back. You are correct.
For a very long time from doing that.
Can't ask people to compromise their values and principles via big tech with monetary penalties. Yes,
because I want us to out.
Because you ain't gonna say what you really fucking think if it's gonna hurt your fucking pocketbook.
I think
Steven Crowder's a dick. You could take that out if you want to.
Which are very different from content guidelines.
And when she was just like, "Oh, this is bullshit," and they beat bullshit,
controversial topics,
they fucking proved his point.
I don't even want to say it's a slippery slope. They've already covered everything under that with their umbrella. Don't have a problem with someone making that decision. I only have a problem when you tell people that you are fighting back and they are expecting it and investing, and you're not, and you're demanding that everybody else do it the same way as you do. There's only one side demanding that. We get rid of that. I'll go on a press tour for all these companies. I mean it. Get rid of the punitive mandates against conservative content creators, period. As a matter of policy, we're done here. Forever. That's the
right. David Casada says, I'm so
He's just reading chats.
I still get stuck with payment
services. I'm trying to find good questions.
Like there's always some big something that's there. Either the payment services with, I mean, we got Parallel Economy, which is like Dan Bongino's new payment service company. It's probably better than PayPal and Stripe. I don't know if it's better than Stripe. I don't know.
Yeah, you always have to be careful because like someone's gonna get pissed off.
I want to have the creators of Stripe on the show. Come on, guys, and let's talk about.
I want to read these two. David Casada says, I'm so glad Steven came out about this because many leaders in the church use and abuse other Christians. They try to use the term, they try to use them as volunteers. Then they offer super low tiered payment options.
Yeah, that's also a big. Yeah, he did. And by the way, that's a big problem too. If there's a huge, unlike the left, there's far too much influence from nonprofits on the conservative side, and a lot of these. This is another big part of BigCon that we haven't even gotten into. You have a lot of these companies, and this is not. I'm not saying Daily Wire. Again, there are a lot of companies where they have a nonprofit wing, and we all know there's a big difference between a 501c3 and a 501c4. And the audits that have taken place, because what happens is the nonprofit money, you have donors go in there, but then that's used in some way to help generate content where they collect the profit. And yeah, it does happen in churches. Gerald, you know that too, where it's like it's nonprofit.
Unfortunately,
someone is profiting at some point. So we do need to uncouple. We need to divest from this undue influence of just nonprofits, and we need to divest from doing big tech spitting.
Here's one from
there's no future.
From Two Coppers. It says, I am a Daily Wire subscriber, and I was under the impression that my money was helping to protect their message from the predation of big tech censors. As a subscriber, my trust was what was betrayed. That's an interesting point. The one thing I brought to people is, like, look, whether you agree or disagree with Crowder, there's a question of why penalize someone for losing YouTube for using YouTube access when the goal is to build a subscription business.
Exactly. At some point, that should be the goal.
Does Netflix say to their show creators, if your show gets pulled from YouTube, we're cutting your fees, despite the fact we charge $10 a month for them to watch it on Netflix?
You think Netflix charges Winona Ryder if the Stranger Things premiere doesn't do well? Again, that's impermissible. It's not even legal in the entertainment industry. Yeah. How can you run a business?
Yes, upon the horizon,
and not incur any risk?
Big tech whims or whatever the cultural degeneration is crying about.
Yes, you're running a business. That's what being a business owner is, right? You sink or swim. You eat what you kill. Yes, not the employee, or in the case of an actual independent production house, you don't penalize them for something that they weren't making in the
upon
first
the horizon.
place.
It's been in this fucking chat hitting fucking home runs.
It was a no risk situation.
Why would you build it this way, right? We've talked about this. Like, you built your career on YouTube is the argument that people use. Right. Last 3 years unmonetized. It's like, yes, we're trying to speak the most truth to the greatest number of people possible. It's not, we can't just all have behind the paywall honest conversations.
Right.
Because then you don't affect people at the biggest possible, tech company out there.
Yeah, it's not
so do that. But don't go so far as to play by this additional set of rules that really restricts what you're able to say
and punish the creators. Yeah,
we have only like one other real show at Timcast, right? Like live show. I'm saying Tales from the Inverted World exists. Jane Cashman does amazing writing work, but we have Pop Culture Crisis, 3 p.m. Monday through Friday, I believe. Brett Dasovic and Mary Morgan host the show. It is a very, very similar format to this, except they have money guns. When you super chat, money shoots in the air, and then every 100,000 super chats, the sirens go off and the money sprays like crazy.
That's why I signed a waiver that was very lengthy.
It's very dangerous.
Are we doing that?
But I have no contract or policy with them about suspension or banning. If they got pulled from YouTube, we'd be like, I guess you're on Rumble.
Yeah.
And like, there's no.
And you'd be fine with it. There's nothing wrong with choosing to be monetized. There's nothing wrong with you making that choice or any other creator out there making that choice. There's something wrong with somebody enforcing it.
I'm saying, like, I have no policy for that. I'm not. Their pay doesn't change.
Yeah.
The structure, like, we are investing in the creation of this show, and we've got it. It's going to take the form that it has to take. Obviously, they're better off on YouTube in terms of growth, but
sure,
we're also we got them on Apple and Spotify and Google and all the podcast platforms. Yeah. And I'd actually rather grow that market than YouTube. I don't care about YouTube.
I agree.
Podcast way better.
That's why I get excited too. Like when our numbers switched from the vast majority on YouTube, to it splitting, and then to the point where it tipped in Rumble's favor.
We're a small ass channel, and I have seen shadow banning on our channel on YouTube.
I think it was it 350 on election night before the servers crashed.
They don't like us.
Rumble's not a right? 11, but we told them to strengthen the servers.
I don't even understand how you guys haven't
fully got it. But that was more exciting than having whatever we had, 500,600,000 on YouTube. I get that you want to hit critical mass on YouTube, but it is exciting we've talked about this for years, when you're at a point where you can actually be a brother in arms, brother, sister, Z in arms, with people who are flipping it to the French government, with people who are saying, no, we practice what we preach, not saying only be on Rumble. But isn't that exciting that there is at least some kind of viable alternative where you can get enough views now that you can make a living? That's a big development. And that's also proof of concept that we don't have to do business the way that people in the big con side say is a requirement. At some point, I'm going to have to be.
I'm going to read just two more super chats.
Floating eyeball.
All right. First, Game Over says, I'm canceling my Timcast subscription for the CNN talking to Biden level of softballing.
Oh, come on.
No, that's fine. Look,
What hard question did we dodge?
Well, I mean,
what did you not ask us that people were talking about?
About this topic.
I mean, I don't know. I think I've said it over and over again that I ideologically agree with Steven.
People just don't understand.
Tactically, to a certain extent, like the recording of the phone call.
Yeah.
But you do the
what am I going to do? Scold you? Am I going to scold you on the show and be like, "How dare you, Steven?" Or am I going to be like, "Tell me why you did it"?
Well, no, I understand. Like you said, they say betraying a friend.
The live
I say they betray. First
isn't showing on YouTube Studios right now.
The movement, the people who support you and invest you.
I can't
the
look.
First betrayal in this.
I mean, I am looking at the back end right now.
The term sheet. And yeah, well, you saw now.
But it's not showing up right here.
Talent, right? Create behind the scenes poaching people. I can only show you one. I could tell you there's a lot more, but that guy said it's okay to show it. Hopefully that provides a little bit more context.
I think we had a respectful and cordial discussion. I think just some people are asking if it was the agent or you that counter offered. That's what people are asking.
So they went from my understanding with the agent is they said, okay, here's a number. And this is 100% of everything. And my agent, who's unbelievable, he's he's left the big agencies. He's gay, he's Latino, and he's to the right.
We'll hit you here in a bit upon harassment.
He also doesn't like Puerto Ricans, but that's the whole thing you have to ask him about because it's hilarious. Because he can
I quit. I'm not doing that anymore.
If you want 100% of everything, there you go. Jeremy said we started low. We would have gone a lot higher. This is contract. If you're talking about the money part, he said, if you want 100% of everything, this is the number. It's higher. But these are the non-starters. We were very clear. These are the non-starters. There was never anything suggested.
So wait, there was a counter offer.
The non-starters. And that's a part where you start to lose faith. And I, frankly, to my everlasting shame, felt like, oh, well, there's no hope here. If these are the non-starters, and this is in every clause.
We'll grab one more super chat so then Steven can go urinate. Peter Piper says, I agree with everything Crowder is saying about the offer being bad. How does he justify this is good for conservatism by creating schisms? It's like he is throwing out the baby with the bathwater. Changed my mind.
I would have agreed 3 years ago, maybe. Yeah. Where this has been happening for a long time, when you sit down and they go, nope, this is how it has to be. At a certain point, do I believe that the conservative movement is better off now when you see behind the curtain that these are the kinds of terms that cannot be changed by their own words to all major content creators out there? No, I wouldn't have been able to create what I've created. You know, Tim, that you wouldn't have been able to have created what you have created under these kinds of terms, and no one else will be able to. If it continues this way, we will continue to lose, and the public will be surprised and dumbfounded how we snatch defeat from the jaws of victory.
Well, the last thing I'll say is I had conversations with the Daily Wire, and ultimately we decided it wasn't going to work. The difference between my approach and your approach is that I just said, look, I'm going to go build my own thing. Best of luck. I appreciate the work you do. I wouldn't want to do business in the way you do it, but that's your business, not mine. And that's all I did. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and I understand it. At a certain point, it's like you can move on and just tilt the rearview mirror away to the wreckage. And I'm not saying that that's the same case with you. I don't know what the terms are for you. But in this case, based on what you see there, it's fundamentally immoral. And I think, again, who does it hurt? It hurts the sponsors. It hurts the investors. It hurts the viewers. And it hurts the creators. And that ultimately hurts the country and it hurts the movement. If you say you're fighting big tech, fucking fight.
Let's do this. I'll talk to you guys a little bit more about some of the offers that we've received and how they work and why they don't play out. I'll get a little bit more into the terms I was offered by various companies. We'll explain that in the members only show. So go to timcast.com if you aren't already. Click the join us button, sign up. We're going to have an uncensored members only show. I'll talk a little bit more about the inner workings of the deals, and I'll talk about what I've been offered and why I said no. And then I'll ask Steven how he really feels. So again, go to timcast.com, become a member.
Well, they can go to Louisville February 10th, but it'll all be based on jokes. I'll say this. Follow the show. You can follow the show at Timcast IRL. You can follow me at Timcast. Again, timcast.com for the uncensored show. I'll post the link on YouTube after the show wraps.
Sorry, guys. I'm into that. Yeah, all right.
Oh boy.
Upon the Horizon's been hitting fucking home runs in the Rumble chat, man. You've been knocking it out the fucking park with it. I want to talk to you, brother. Or
Sammy Sosa of the
sister.
Of it
I don't know who you are, but I want to talk. You got the email right there. Let's go. But yeah. All right, Davey.
We nailed it.
Let me ask you a question. How much shit can they talk now?
Oh, they can still talk shit. They're going to be wrong, and they're going to have egg on their face. But once they're not even going to care. I don't even think they're going to care. They're going to say boomer power. Oh, he's an older gentleman. old woman. They're not going to care. They're just going to go out, repeat the same talking points. If you listen to that whole Candace Owens thing, she said the same thing over and over and over and over again. And she just got louder and louder and louder. That's all she did.
Mm-hmm.
And I was right about the girl fight thing. You thought I was going one way. See? Told you.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it's I have had so many fights with people, in comment sections and just like in person and everything. And I'm just like, you don't stand what he's trying to say to you. It's not about the money, bitches. 12.5 million. Okay, now he has to use that for everything to produce his show while they make money off his fucking back. They take none of the damn risks. So if anything happens and he comes down, okay, he gets a strike on this, like he was saying, up to 110%. I didn't even figure that in. Now, if this motherfucker's deplatformed like Alex Jones, he owes Daily Wire money. What the fuck?
Standard contract.
And these are, like he said, these are the rules that don't change from Jeremy Boring's own fucking words, which means Brett Cooper is fucking lying.
Once again, they all have to suckle the teat of the Daily Wire. It's not gonna. They're not. None of them's gonna change their mind. None of them gonna go against what Jeremy Boring or Ben Shapiro or the other two yuckleheads say, because they know where their bread is buttered. So they're not gonna. Yes. They're gonna be like, no. Even though Candace Owens opened her yap and told everybody, "Oh, that's a standard contract." I saw that. If it's a standard contract and Brett Cooper is a brand new personality, what do you think she got? She got the standard contract.
I'm gonna stop the little banner here because that's getting on my nerves. But yeah, I mean, it's still, she got the same shit. Okay, so for her to come out in her little video and say, "Well, I got all that removed," either A, you're straight up lying, or B, there's some shady ass practices going here. Are we talking how Kamala Harris got into politics?
Yeah, well, or Jeremy Boring might have a new girlfriend soon, but I think maybe it might be. Listen, what could have happened is she could have came back, took a ton less money, and kept some of that stuff on the back end. It could have happened. She could have said, "Listen, I'll take whatever, $100,000, and I keep my rights." And they went, "Okay, maybe." It could have happened.
Well, then, if that were the thing, you done fucked yourself in every bit of it, because look at how you fucking rose. And guess what? Because you came up under Daily Wire, you ain't got shit. Just like Jeremy Boring said in that little call. Well, they're famous when they leave, but you ain't got shit.
Yeah, I doubt she gets to take her subscribers with her.
Right, because if she mentions or shows a clip of anything she worked with the Daily Wire, guess what? Daily Wire has that money because that whole thing is monetized under Daily Wire.
Hey, Gary.
So every bit of work you did, you spend an hour and a half, 2 hours on a stream or building your shit. If you reference what you say in any way, you bring up in any way, shape, or form what you say while you were flying that Daily Wire banner, they have that money.
Well, I guarantee you everything she has from the Daily Wire is automatically going to be watermarked.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So she won't be able to take it out. So she won't be able to be crop it out or anything like that. So, but yeah, I mean.
And even if she does, she opens her ass up to a lawsuit.
But he said exactly. Listen, I know nothing about this industry. The only thing I know is because I've listened to radio for 10, 15 years. And I've listened to Opie and Anthony talk about how it is. I've listened to Crowder talk about how it is. And again, this is embarrassment. That's why she took it personally. She doesn't have a leg to stand. Yeah, that's what I said yesterday.
That's exactly what happened.
I said yesterday that
she realized she got fucked in the ass, and then she's pissed about it. So she takes it out on everybody else except where her bread is buttered on.
Candace had a name, and that was it. Candace made her name on being a SJW for the conservative side, and she had no show. She had nothing. Daily Wire came to her, said, "We'll give you a show, give you something to talk, give you a place to put out your stuff." And she said, "Yes, whatever you want, I will bend the knee." And that's what it is. Steven Crowder now has all this stuff, and they gave him that contract. Once again, I know nothing about the radio industry, but come on, give me a break.
Look, from the whole, oh, they were friends kind of thing.
Told you.
Like I said before.
I told you he was coming.
If I called you friend and you literally kick me in the nuts with that bullshit, wanting to make bank off my back when I rival your whole company, bitch, we are no longer friends. And anything goes. It's all good. What is it? What's the whole saying? Anything goes in love and war or some shit like that. What's that saying?
It's all good in love and war. I can't remember right now.
Something of that.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's still the same concept. All right, we're good friends, and then you come and disrespect me at a point where you're just like, "Hey, we'll do good. We'll do you great." All right, all you have to do is just you come talk to us.
All fair in love and war.
Is over. Yeah, that's it. All's fair in love and war.
I just opened the website and I was just like, oh, there it is. That I just thought about.
But yeah, it's just like, okay, we'll do you great. All right, you leave Blaze, you come with us. We'll make everything good. And then they say, well, 12.5 million out of the 35 million that you can bring. There's more. I guarantee that. I can't say how I know any of this. Because if I did, I'll lose it. Sorry. I got the drunken hiccups. But if I lose that connection. I can't tell anybody. I can't out shit. It's like, with the whole anonymous sources thing, and I get it now. I really do. But if I were to tell you how I know all of this shit, I would lose that connection. And I have made a fair amount of connections with some big names out there.
And that's
as a matter of fact,
that's how you keep your connections. Because I'm the same way. People are like, I don't know why I'm telling you this. It's like, because I don't say shit. I'll forget in 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, I'll be like, what did he say? Shit, I forgot.
As a matter of fact, I'll give this one out. Shout out to Star Sand. I see you just actually did your little thing here. You've watched a little bit. I know you have. But yeah, I have connections to people in the back end of everything here, and I know what's really happening. I've been screaming this shit, and he just said everything. The only thing he did not say is how much it cost to produce his show. He did say how much it cost to produce the Change My Mind segments, which are few and far between. And now you know why.
How much was it?
Dude, it was millions.
Was it really each segment?
Because you got to pay for security. You got to pay the person that's hosting you. You got to pay for everything. You got to pay for the equipment. You got to pay it all. Jeez. Millions each time they release a Change My Mind. That's only like, what, 20, 30 seconds? Or, I'm sorry, 20, 30 minutes?
I was like, wait a minute. That's a lot of money. That's a football ad. That's a Super Bowl ad.
But yeah, 20, 30 minutes in a video that literally takes the man all day to do. And the Daily Wire is saying, well, if you do that, we're going to fuck you in the ass because that's a day you could have given us as far as a live segment. So we're going to take that money from your production fund because you did that. Now, we're still going to monetize it. We're still going to make millions off of you, but we're going to give you less because you didn't do a live for us.
And the fact that also...
But don't worry, you can make it up by making your people work twice as fucking hard, pre-recording it. It'll be fine, but we're still taking your money.
And the fact that they had the right to name the big tech company. So it's just like Joe's Crab Shack decided that they weren't going to advertise on you anymore because they're going to boycott. So we're taking 25%. What?
Right.
Joe's Crab Shack doesn't even exist. No. They have a little tiny conglomerate, but it's big enough. What? They could just name anything. It doesn't even have to be any particular. That's a scummy move. Once again, your friend that you knew was a scumbag.
Yes.
And like you said, it's been going on for years. Like, really, you really think this all just happened in a span of 3 months? They gave him an offer sheet. He told him to go fuck himself, and then he taped Jeremy Boring. No, that's not how it works.
Let's just throw out this question right here. How the fuck do you think Daily Wire came up as a company? You think all of a sudden some big billionaires just like, here you go, here's money, and then you snowball that into a multi-million-dollar company in a decade? No, they've been making money off the backs of every single fucking person while they fuck you in the ass.
Well, according to Capicol Uger, that's how it works. Because apparently every conservative is just given money by some big giant corporation, and I heard him say that, and I'm like,
meanwhile, who backs the Young Turks?
Yeah, aren't you guys funded by the billionaires too? Like, it's just, and if you think about it, and it took me somebody to tell me this, if you think about it, all the people who are rich are basically liberal. They're liberal. Every single one of them. So if you think the liberal agenda is going to tax the rich, quote unquote, you're out of your mind. You are out of your mind. Notice how they really, who have they named when they say they're going to attack millionaires and billionaires? Who have they named?
Nobody. They didn't name anybody. By the way, 87,000 armed IRS agents, and yet they audited more low middle class and lower class people in what, 2019, 2020, something like that.
Yeah.
And then they automatically, hey, let's bring in 87,000 new IRS agents. Where is the actual fucking money for this country coming from? It's not from the millionaires and billionaires. It's from you. Because there are more of you than there are the millionaires and billionaires. So you're going to sit there and tell me 87,000 new IRS agents, that with the amount of million in the country, let's just say 1 million. I looked it up. With the amount of millionaires in this country, you're sitting there telling me with that 87,000 IRS agents, there is 7 to 9 agents per millionaire? Are you kidding me?
Upon the horizon, you're absolutely right. You know how you can tell they really hate small businesses? Look at what happened during the pandemic. They closed every small business. They kept Home Depot open. They kept liquor stores open because there was big tax in liquor. There's big tax in cigarettes. They left Walmart open. They left Amazon open. Listen, those people on Amazon work close together. You really don't think the people at Amazon were at risk? No.
These Amazon fucking distribution centers are literally damn near slave fucking camps. Yeah, they get paid good money, but they have to work 12, 14, 16 hours with very little fucking breaks in between. Yeah, you get a 20-minute lunch. Guess what? Your ass is working 12 hours a day on your feet slinging fucking boxes.
I was talking to an Amazon driver one time. He said literally he pulled in after 12 hours. They pulled all the stuff, put it in his truck, and somebody came and took his truck right after that. And then when he came back to work, that same truck, that person pulled in, they threw the stuff in the truck, and then he went out. And if somebody called in, he would have to go back out.
Yep.
And it was like they literally had to pee and shit in a bottle, in bottles. I mean, look how many videos you saw of Amazon drivers just taking a dump on people's driveways.
I mean, I don't blame them. Honestly, you ain't got time to stop and take a shit. All right.
I'll teach you again to order toilet paper, you son of a bitch.
That could have been done at your local grocery store. Oh, wait. No, it couldn't. They shut that shit down and toilet paper went off the market. Fuck. Yeah.
Dylan's was still open, you mother truckers. You mean to tell me you couldn't get this dog food yourself? Sons of bitches. Walmart's still open. But yeah, man, I when I first started listening and he was just saying the things that we were saying, now shitting in a bottle, that would be a trick. Listen, I mean, if you got some coordination, you got some good fiber, whoop.
Or you just don't eat and drink a lot, because it's all at that point.
Yeah.
I know that firsthand. But take the focus off of me for that. But no, it's seriously, it's the same. Everything that he said is 100% fucking correct.
He said, "Okay, I'm subbing you guys."
I appreciate you, Upon.
Well,
As a matter of fact, look, this one is actually on the wrong channel because I did this off the Drunken Senpai on Rumble, and I forgot to set it up under the Voice of the People one, so I fucked up yet again, just like I fucked up the YouTube one Friday. I'm a fuck up. What do you want?
Listen, we're all just trying to do something. We're all just trying to get on here and just voice ourselves. We're all just like, hey, let's do this. All right. Oh, you're on? Okay, I'm on. Let's go. Let's do this.
One click and everything's fucked. That's literally the way it is. Like,
dude,
nothing has changed from my show. Even when me and Abel were doing this, like, we had an episode with Gothics, right? And as soon as I'm like, all right, we're going live. And Abel's like, oh, well, they just fucked me on this. Like, that was the first thing that ever came out before I could say anything. I'm just like, all right, so this is what we're doing. All right, let's go.
So I was watching our first shows. Mine and Biz's show from like when we first started back in May. By the way, yes, I've only done this since last May. I've only been doing this since last May, and I'm watching, and I'm like, and I was just so happy to be there. And I'm like, fast forward 8 months, and I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Right?
But yeah, man, I mean,
it's not. There we go.
They don't care, man. They just want money, and shadow ban yourself.
I don't give a shit. I mean,
they listen.
Look, it's not about the numbers or anything. Like with Steven Crowder, it's not about the numbers. It's not about the interaction. It's not about fucking making money. It's about your voice being heard. This is what this whole podcast. This is what this whole show is. Mm-hmm. Like, literally, I want to bring people on. I want to bring different voices on. I want to have a conversation, respectful. I don't want this whole mudslinging bullshit. But I want to be able for you to challenge my ideas and for me to challenge your ideas so that we can actually strengthen our own arguments. Whether you win or whether I win, it's not a fucking thing. As long as you understand where I'm coming from and you can respect that, and I can understand where you're coming from and I can respect that, that's what it's about. And that's what we've been trying to do.
You got me like Pavlov's dog. I see Voice of the People. Here I come, boss. Here I come.
You did that on your own. Hold on.
I know. I'm an attention whore. What can I say? But yeah, man, once again, everything we said on Friday was absolutely true without even hearing Crowder's take, and he nailed everything. Everything.
Look, my information, everything that I have fucking said has come from the back end of all of this. Like I said, I can't give away who it is because if I do, I lose that.
Yeah, you know what? Don't do that. Don't do that.
I know this shit. I have seen this shit. I saw it before Jeremy Boring made his video. And by the way, he didn't cover it all. He did not cover it all. There are some things in there that is just like, let's hide. That wasn't all of it.
Of course, why would
So yeah,
why would he show you everything? Why would he show his whole hand? He's not going to try to get people from not trying to join the Daily Wire.
I mean, in a fucking 7-card stud, this motherfucker showed 6 of them. So, and then he tried to walk it back and say, I'm the victim because, well, he attacked me. Bitch, don't. No. You tried to take everything from this fucking man. You tried to take everything, lock him in under your and be what he called and you called a slave wage or wage slave. And then you're pissy because he outed you, but he didn't do that. You outed yourself.
But once again, I don't know who said it. I can't remember. It might have been Tim Pool, but it went from, or I don't even, maybe Crowder said it. It went from, can you believe he didn't take $50 million to, can you believe he taped his friend and put it out there?
Yep.
It just
within the course of 24 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you believe?
Because Jeremy Boring realized he fucked himself when he made that video because he went through everything and then tried to justify how he was fucking over his friend. And then Crowder released that, he taped a friend. Are you serious?
Once again, Steven Crowder knew who he was dealing with. The man plays stupid, but he ain't. There's a reason why he's been and has been for a long time the biggest voice in the conservative side. Now, I'm not really conservative. I'm politically fucking homeless because conservatives are spineless little fucking cowards. They don't stand for anything at all. But I damn sure ain't no lefty or liberal in any way because these motherfuckers went so goddamn off the rails. What I am is liberal 10 years ago. So what the fuck? Like, I'm politically homeless because I can't back these spineless fucking cowards who are just bowing down to everything. But I can't get behind the fact that you want children to chop off the dicks. I'm sorry. I can't do it. I'm an R, but not Republican.
You're a small R.
Yeah.
Cross-dressing Crowder. I mean, he has done it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. Yeah, he mentioned it on the thing. Once again, like I said, do you think and Business Party Podcast? Do you think he would be able to do cultural appropriation? And he went and he said no.
Hit your little links and everything in the chat there.
Huh? Oh,
not the private. Oh, well, you can send it private, or if that's a thing, and I'll send it out to everybody, or you can just do it yourself. But yeah, like I love Davey, dude. This guy's he's just gonna make you laugh. That's all it is.
Me?
Scott's there gonna tell you the information. This son of a bitch is gonna pick up that Specs puppet behind him and just make jokes all day. But don't think that that's not going to say whatever he says is not right. So
you don't think this shit is free, do you? You don't think this shit is free?
Dude, my daughter, I was on the phone. I was on FaceTime with my kid, and I pulled Specs out, and I go,
maybe if you tell your fucking father you love them once in a while or call them, maybe you get something for Christmas. But no, fuck you.
Specs, you can't say that. It's my daughter.
Fuck that bitch.
Specs. I did it to her face. I don't listen. What you see is what you get. I'm not
with all of us, every single person that's on here, like, you know, the people that we regularly chat with. This is us, guys. This is not some bullshit that we've just put on. Like, we have a lot of conversations. Like, I want Freely Ashley to come back, but there's a lot going on with her right now. But she is who she portrays to be. So is Scott. So is Davey. So is let's see. So is the Joseph Santos. Like, literally, we will argue all day long, and I still respect the shit out of him. Like he has taken some personal jabs, and I'm just like, all right, hold up. That's kind of a low blow situation. Let's reset a minute. And I will do the same to him without even realizing, well, half-ass without even realizing. But I still respect the shit out of that dude because he's smart as fuck. And then just because we disagree on a take doesn't mean everything needs to end for what we've done together. But yeah, it's he is correct. The whole biggest problem with conservatives today, it's all reactionary. And this is what I mean by what used to be what we call the minority. I'm skipping frames and shit, but there's a problem with that. If you are the silent majority, but yet all they hear is chop your dick off and you can put it back on if you decide it's not your route, but yet you know full fucking well it isn't, who are they going to listen to? Somebody that's just like, it is what it is, or somebody just like, you can just add a dick to me and it'll be all right. Who are people going to listen to? Who are people going to believe when the silent majority doesn't say shit?
It's just sad to realize that.
Oh, so you sent me the playlist thing.
Corrupts, man. It really does, and I pray to God that it never does that to me. And I don't want. I want to be. I love giving. I love. My wife has taught me a little bit more about giving. And when we first met, I was tense about money. I was tense. They took like $400 for overdraft fees. I was a little mad, but I was like, you know what, money comes and goes.
Right.
And that's kind of my
$400 for overdraft fees. God damn, son.
Yeah.
Quit swiping the card.
Yeah. Well, kind of fucked up. But what are you gonna do? Like I said, money comes, it goes.
It is what it is. As long as the bills are paid, who the fuck cares?
Exactly. And that's me and Scott, me and Biz are very on par with that. And when we start to do when we get our merch out and when we get our stuff settled, we just want money to cover our stuff. That's it. We don't really care if we make money. I mean, eventually it'd be great to start making money, but I kind of understand where Crowder is like, he's like, I don't want to take the money from these people. I feel bad. And I get it. I get that, he doesn't want to bilk people for money, but you provide entertainment. You know how many people have listened to radio programs or listened to podcasts and shows and just been like called in or something like that and been like, how I was almost going to take my life and then I was having a bad day and I listened to your show and I thought twice about it. I've heard that a lot over the years, and
I have too.
And people just, and you have to, and you feel good. You have to feel good when that happens. So if you're providing this thing, yeah, I mean, and the thing with me is like, you don't know if you feel bad if you overcharge because you just like, is it good enough? I don't think is $6 a month. Really? Am I giving them $6 a month worth?
Oh shit, I meant to be. But anyway, no, I like you were saying that. My best friend, literally been there more than half my life. Like, I was in a bad spot too. I wanted to self-delete multiple times. I tried 5 times in my life. What broke me is the fact that she broke down into tears and was so pissy with me over an attempt. And I was just like, I mean something. I mean something to somebody. And that's all it took. And ever since then, I've been, trying to go through people. Yeah, you hear the same thing. You mean something to somebody, but it doesn't hit until you hear it from that somebody. And it's just like I've told my story multiple times to people, and I hear in like emails and DMs and things like that. It's just like, dude, I feel the same. How do I do this? Is change your routine. That's all it is.
Mhm.
You don't understand when depression hits, you don't want to get out of bed. That's when you need to change your fucking routine, because your routine is what puts you there in the first damn place. Do something you normally wouldn't do. Just experience something different.
Move to Kansas.
I wouldn't go that far, but he did.
Listen, I mean, to be honest with you, man, if I would have never met my wife, I wouldn't probably be sober. I wouldn't, because you know, you realize that you mean something to people, you know, and it's and I feel so much better now being sober than I did when I was drinking. And I never thought I'd say that, man. I never in my entire life. I never thought sobriety for me was going to work. I always thought, even when I first started to get sober, I'm like, I'm not going to be able to drink at my own daughter's wedding. And now I'm just like, yo.
Meanwhile,
Madison, yo, Madison, if you don't have my monsters at your wedding, I'm going to murder you. You know, but it's like, you don't know until you try, and you don't know if you, that's basically it. You don't know if you don't try, you know, because if you continually, what's the definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
Exactly. So if you keep doing the same thing every day, and eventually it just gets tiring, you know.
By the way, Upon Horizon says, I'm guessing your stance would be against the uniparty. I'm against anything that wants to fuck me in the ass. Like, literally, politics right now is left and right have you bent over a barrel, fucking you in the ass with no lube, and having you argue over who's the better rapist. We're still on YouTube. But yeah, that's the way it is.
Yeah, one does it out of the closet, the other one does it in the closet.
And it changes up every decade.
Because, listen, Republicans have no spine. Republicans are spineless. They're not going to do anything. They went after Trump so hard, and then they're like, when we get the House, we're not going to do. And that's where the Freedom Caucus is like, no, this is what we're doing. And it was funny to watch people like, oh, look at the Republican split party. I'm like, no, you have no idea what they're doing. You don't understand. You have no idea what the Freedom Caucus is doing. Oh, they just don't. No. Once again,
you know why McCarthy is now doing what the fucking Republican Party should do? Because the Freedom Caucus said, hey, these are our terms. Motherfucker, you want that seat? If any single person says no confidence, you're out. The only reason he is sitting in that seat right now, and you want to sit there and bitch and complain about how the Republicans are infighting, bitch, they're fighting for you. No. Because if McCarthy took that, without that, mind you, this motherfucker was like anti-Trump all the fucking way, and now he's all for Trump, all for his policies and shit. Do you understand that flip that fucking happened? Everything that everybody says, oh, Trump is a... I hate the cocksucker. He's an asshole. But he did good for us. There was more money in my pocket. If he were president, I wouldn't be sitting in a half-finished fucking remodeled house. So go fuck yourself. I wouldn't be having to pay $5, $6, $7 for a carton of eggs, $6 for a gallon of milk. I wouldn't be having to do that. Neither would you. But because Orange Man bad and he's got mean tweets, we are sitting here simply because you're a fucking dick. I'm sorry for every viewer out there. If you didn't vote for him, I'm damn sure not talking to you. But you voted for Biden, who fucked us in the ass. We spent $100 million supporting Ukraine's borders while ours are wide open and illegal immigrants are killing us in mass. Illegal immigrants now make up more fucking crime than the black community does.
Did you see yeah, you saw the TikTok I put up about the journalist talking about it was a mostly peaceful protest, And then the mayor came out and goes, yeah, no, they were burning police cars, and most of these people weren't even from here, and there was extreme violence. And it was
Yeah,
like,
you're talking about fucking Atlanta. Yeah, and guess what, dude? This is actually hitting close to home for me because Knoxville and Memphis are primed for the same shit now. And I'm going to cover this. I'll bring it all up. I'll probably do a whole fucking live about this. Knoxville and Nashville are not Nashville, but Memphis are primed for the same shit. I'm going to warn you right now. You move out of those major cities, you sons of bitches ain't gonna stand a chance. Take it how you want it. But you are fucking with people who have to protect themselves from boars, bears, mountain lions, and every other fucking thing out there. You think a person's gonna stand a chance? And you're talking about people who have their own fucking back. Yeah. In these kinds of places, a neighbor might be a quarter to a half mile away, but they'll be on your doorstep in 2 fucking minutes because the police don't run radar on back roads. Are you fucking kidding me?
I saw my first steer, my first like real life wildlife steer. No, it's steer.
What's a tweet?
What's the thing with the big giant horns? Is it a steer?
Longhorn?
Yeah, longhorn. Whatever. I saw my first
The
one in
Texas
the wild.
Longhorns?
I saw my first one in the wild. Holy shit. That thing is huge. I could not imagine trying to wrangle that fucker in.
Now, let me ask you something. Do you think a 9mm with 3 rounds is going to take that son of a bitch down?
Dude, an AK-47 with a full clip, I don't think it'll take that fucker down.
You're talking about 50 PMG. Just go ahead and remove the horns, all right? No, but literally, a city close to me, we had a fucking bear walk down Main Street. The biggest fucking most populated street in the town, and this son of a bitch owned it. Why? Because the police had nothing to move him. Absolutely nothing. So they had to shut down the biggest main street in our biggest city closest to me to make sure this bear decided to walk into the woods.
You ever see that video of the 2 bears fighting?
Yes.
That's Jersey. That was Jersey. Yo, Jersey's so ghetto. You got bears fighting in the middle of driveways.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're like, fuck the woods. We just gonna do it right here in this person's driveway.
Meanwhile, if that were to happen here, those bears would both be dead and there'd be pelts everywhere. These motherfuckers be selling them. But yeah, because Jersey, it's a gun-free area. Yeah, well, bear owns your fucking house now. Yeah. Did you ever see that video where the bear climbed in the dude's truck and closed the door behind him and sat up in the seat like, I own this motherfucker. What you gonna do? What you got?
Oh, I have so many jokes going through my head, but I'm not going to say them because I don't want to get... Well, I'm an LLC now, so fuck it.
I could care less about the mean tweets, best policies we've seen. Trump put the country on the right track. Yes, and he was the biggest dick in the fucking world. This motherfucker thought the whole world fucking loved him. And they did until he ran for president.
But you know what? But he proved the alpha male worked. The alpha male worked because you know why? You know why Putin didn't do anything for those 4 years he was in office? And it wasn't because he was a puppet for him. No, because he knew that Trump was nuts. And when he said, I'll nuke you out of the atmosphere, they thought he was going to do it.
Yeah.
And then JoJo comes right in and Vladimir goes, fuck the Ukrainians.
God damn it.
Dude, that video of Trump just pushing his way right in front of the G20 is my favorite video ever. Like, oh, man. And everybody's just like, oh. And they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything. They did not do. But this is what it should show you, and this is what I try to tell the people on the other side, on the liberals, guys. If you, it's a boy. It's like a club. George Carlin said it. It's a club, and Trump
you ain't in it.
Exposed all of them. And then you have people now fighting for the liberals who are always against the government now fighting for the government. What?
Every fucking bit of it.
Like good.
Every bit of it. And it's disgusting.
Should get rid of Kanye's money. Dude, do you remember Occupy Wall Street? They were fighting against that. Now they're like, no, good. Bank's good. Yeah, bank's good. Big corporation, good. Yeah, good big corporation. What?
And what happened there? It was like everybody was against the one real problem. And then all of a sudden, identity politics came into play. Because of the color of your skin, that person hates you, and you believed it. And look where we are now.
You know what the biggest problem I have, besides urinating, is you have politicians now.
Besides urinating, hold on. Let's go back to that for a second. Prostate problems?
Prostate's fine. Just kidding. Now you have people on both sides. Either you're a terrorist or a communist. And you have Democrats calling Republicans MAGA Republicans, ultra MAGAs, and like these are people who are supposed to represent us, and they're calling half the country names.
And meanwhile, 10, 15 years ago, these are the same goddamn people that you heralded as heroes and patriots.
Yeah. We are in a weird time, and what a time it is to be alive. What a time. We are the perfect generation to watch the switch. We watched that switch happen.
The problem is, can we stop the switch from being flipped fully?
And going to
without the silent majority speaking their fucking mind? I doubt it.
Everybody wants to keep their job. Everybody wants to keep this.
Look, if your job wants to drop you because you think, hey, people should come here legally, those who are actually trying to seek asylum should do it by legal terms, and your job wants to fire you for that, you're in the wrong goddamn business.
If your job
because they're all about fucking you from the start.
Well, segue to what I was going to say. If you see a man with a dress and a beard go into a woman's bathroom and you say, excuse me, you can't go in there, and they fire you, don't work for that fucking company.
No. Take it as a badge of honor.
Yeah. Yeah, because you just probably saved some girl's life.
Mm-hmm. I mean, what? They're talking about gender-neutral bathrooms in schools. What about that story about the little girl who got sodomized by a kid in a dress because they wouldn't call him a non-binary? They damn sure wouldn't say his pronouns. They wouldn't go anything about that. Why? Because as that little TikTok that went viral because of some other shit, this is not the representation we want. Oh yeah, the Dahmer situation. Yeah, they were pissy because Jeffrey Dahmer targeted gay black men. And they're like, no, this is not the representation we want. No, you can't do this. You can't play this.
What about the shooter that said he was referred to as they, them, and they went, well, that's not ours. That's not ours. What do you mean? We don't claim him. Oh. It's so funny. I saw a tweet today, and it showed a video of an Arab guy talking about saying something bad about women, and it was like, and then he went and sodomized a young girl, and it was like, and I didn't even go on to the comments, but I could already see the comments. You can't label all those people the same. You can't say all this one is that. But then you go on TikTok, all you see is YT people are this. All YT people are inherently racist. All like, I thought we weren't generalizing. I thought you can't say all this is something, all that is something. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait. Oh, you're like skin, so it's okay. It's you're part of that problem too.
I'm gonna highlight Star Sand in this. Hold on. Let's see. Where's she at? I love Star Sand. She's amazing. She's got really just all different kinds of takes. She's pretty much everywhere with everything she says, but everything she says is damn sure spot the fuck on. And I want y'all to see this. I want y'all to hear this and understand this is the shit that really bothers people.
Once again, I keep getting people who love to sit there and take the tiniest bit of a video and don't think. I even say in the TikTok you commented on, which I only just realized you made. It must have been during the whole people trying to dox me and threaten me shit. I even say in that video, learn to make it yourself. Learn to make your own protein pancakes. Learn to imitate these things. I love them. Also, check the ingredients. It's literally just the meat, cheese, and vegetables, and a little bit of sodium to preserve it. Like, this is not a win, guys. You're mad at me because I'm calling out with logic. And you think because I'm fat, I'm betraying people. It's freaking goofy.
Now, to add some context, this is Star Sand.
Challenge.
She's a bigger woman. She's trying. And everybody wants to hate on her for TikTok for saying, look, I know I'm fat. I'm trying to do something about it. Y'all should too.
I love how all
she's not going to be on TikTok for long, but yeah.
I love how all the fat celebrities are like, big is beautiful, and then they lose all this weight. It's like, wait a minute. First of all, big is unhealthy.
Who was that? That was Rebel Wilson.
Wilson.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. She was
like she came up and then she lost that weight, and everybody's like, "Fuck you."
Adele.
Yeah, Adele's one of them. Like,
I mean,
Lizzo, like, as big as that woman is, she actually at least looks like she's trying to lose weight, and everybody's like, "No, you're perfect the way you are." No, you're not. Because in your shows, you can hear her huffing and puffing, walking across the stage. And I'm sorry, I don't give a shit. I'm not sorry. Go fuck yourself. The woman is too damn big, and y'all prop that shit up. It's just like that bad baby bitch or Danielle Bergoli or whatever the fuck. Like, she got famous outside. How about that? Now she's a rich bitch who thinks she can do whatever the fuck she wants. She made millions day one as soon as she turned 18, made an OnlyFans.
And then
y'all literally lift her up.
And now everybody was saying, now she's calling everybody who subscribe on day one fucking perverts.
Y'all subscribe to my OnlyFans. I'm putting my tits and ass out there, but y'all are perverts for looking at me.
Once again, people, there are stupid people in this universe. And I mean, and the person that made that comment on her on Star, what was her name? I'm sorry. Star Sand. Forgive me, madam.
Oh, you probably have a conversation with her eventually.
Sounds good to me. I'm down.
She's cool. She's cool as shit. She really is.
But it's like, you see those comments all the time, and it's like, dude, like, do you think about what you say before you say things? Like, do you, before you hit the send button, do you read it over again and like, oh no, this is good. This is what I wanted to put. Like, that there was a stupid comment, and there's TikTok is full of them. I think they're bots that just, because they got no viewers, they got nothing.
There are a lot of bots on TikTok, a lot of them, and we know where they come from. We've had that interaction. We have proof of that. 1776 and some others have proof of that, but a lot of that is really just dumb ass people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about, just trying to own you because you simply speak fucking logic.
That came out of a Bisquick container. Yeah, do you know that Bisquick containers are great to keep stuff in? Do you understand that? You ever heard? Listen, my house, every time you open the I can't believe it's not butter, there was something else in. There was dinner from 3 nights ago. I was always going, oh, bread and butter. I go to open it, it's not butter. It's fucking
it's meatloaf.
It's rice and beans again. Son of a bitch. Ma, where's the butter? And you know what? This is how dumb I grew up. I didn't know margarine wasn't butter until I was in my 20s.
All right.
You know what? That might be a lie. I think I didn't know margarine. No. I didn't know margarine and butter were different until I met my wife. That was like 3 years ago. No idea.
And what's that George Carlin quote? Think of the dumbest person you know and then realize half the world is dumber than that. God damn it.
No I swear to God, I thought it was the same thing.
But yeah, Upon the Horizon says, do you guys know about the Supreme Court victory 7 months ago? The Coach Kennedy case, where we can put the 10 Commandments back in government buildings. One on freedom of speech rather than separation of church and state.
You know, I didn't get the church and state thing until we watched the show, The Rain.
I think that was an actual problem.
Huh?
And that was a problem, and that's coming from somebody who's agnostic as shit.
Well, here's the thing. I didn't know the difference of it until I watched this show. What it really means, the separation of church and state, it doesn't mean like you can't put church things into schools or anything like that. When Europe was being run, it was run by the church. So everything the king and queens did had to go through the church. So they couldn't get married without going through the church. They couldn't like do certain things that wasn't the church, that didn't involve the church. Where here, they wanted it so that way the church had no say in what you did. So they didn't have to go to the Vatican from here. They didn't have to travel to the Vatican, talk to the cardinal, priest, whatever, the Pope, get the Pope's blessing, then come back here and do things. That's what they didn't want. So that's
kind of like that movie Hell Baby we watched.
Yeah.
But go on. Punching the baby. What the hell?
Got me. But yeah, so that's what the separation of church and state is. It's not you can't read the Bible in school. It's not any of that. It means that we don't have to get permission from the church to do anything in our everyday lives like they did back then. And I didn't know that until I watched it. And it was like it's my dumb face, like, oh, because I was always under the impression that like you can't put books in school because you can't have the church in the states. No, you don't have to go to the Vatican and ask for permission to do shit, and that's basically what it is. So, yeah. I thought that was really interesting when I finally put it together. I was like, oh, yeah.
Well, see, I've had a lot of talks with Gothics, more on the off stream kind of back end kind of situation, and she's like a atheist, Wiccan turned Christian kind of woman, and the more we have these conversations, the more I'm just like, fuck, she makes a point. I mean, literally, we took a separation of church and state, that kind of thing. We literally took God out of everything. And now you can sit there and say religion is whatever, and you have a point. I can actually attest to that. You know, I don't really believe in religion as a whole, but when you take away the belief in something higher than you have to believe in something. You have to fill that with something. So what do you see? 10 years ago, we were arguing, should gay people get married? Now we're arguing, should you be able to chop your dick off? As a kid. This shit, they were talking about the slippery slope, and I thought it was stupid too. I was one of those people just like, no, hold on. Now they're trying to put pedophile LGBT banner. Literally. Like, I'm stuttering over here, probably because some shit's going on. But they're literally talking about trying to put pedophilia as a protected class. Or they try to call it minor attracted people. Yeah. They want to have those people protected. Do you wonder? They're trying to lower the age of consent across the country. In some places, I think it's California, that the age of consent is now like 13 years old.
And you can do 10 years. Like, it can be a 10-year age gap. So if she's 13, she could date a 23-year-old.
Mm-hmm. And it's fine.
18 and 8-year-old.
It's fine. Because of the law. Nobody sees a problem with it. Okay. Okay. And you wonder why we have an out of control birth rate within our young, and wonder why they want to kill those children by calling it a clump of cells.
Listen, I also thought a slippery slope was a Japanese bobsled team, so, you know, see?
That would be one small ass slope.
This is what I provide, people. Stupidity. But no, I mean, like, we went from, you know, God and everything and higher power to let's show kids tits now on a guy. Confuse the shit out of them. Let's take them in the most vulnerable time and show them two body parts that shouldn't be together. Meanwhile, they're trying to figure out their own body parts, and like the boys are like, am I supposed to have the I mean, if you're fat, you have these and these, so it's like, you know, but like you're confusing kids, and then you allow parents to chemically castrate their kids, but you won't let a kid. You won't allow a kid to be named Adolf. They don't. There was a Jersey couple that named their kid Adolf, and CPS came. Adolf Hitler was his first and middle name, and then Johnson or something like that. CPS came and took them away. But there's a story about a father who had his son taken away by the kid's stepmother. Took him to California. Wasn't even biologically hers. Took him to California and was allowed to give him chemical castration stuff.
Yeah.
And this is
all right. Upon the horizon, I'm gonna throw it to you here. All right. He says nobody seems to know about this one, and if you're a thinking person and Gnostic at all, you know the biblical moral laws inform composing those founding documents. All right. I'm gonna be honest. I kind of know a little bit about the situation. I'm not too informed because my attention has been thrown in every fucking way possible. The email is through the little banner there. Hit us up, dude. Or ma'am. Or whoever.
It's a dude. He said
or Azizer. It doesn't matter. I don't fucking care. But hit us up. Hit me up. Let's get to talking with this because I kind of want to know more.
Well, here's the thing. Is there a coincidence that the first 10 Bill of Rights and the 10 Commandments are kind of the same? Or if you watch Life of Brian, it was 15 Commandments. It's basically thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, all that stuff is basically it's the same. This country was founded on Christian morals, and
you got a point.
So everything, and I said it. I said let's go back to the Bill of Rights. Take all the rest of the amendments out. If you just leave the first 10, the Bill of Rights in the first 10 amendments, you don't need anything else because there's no race, no creed, no nothing in those first 10 amendments. There's nothing in there that describes anybody's anything. Once you get further in, that's when it starts to get into, that's when it gets hazy. So if you just take out everything else and leave the first 10 amendments, the Bill of Rights, 10 amendments, we're good. We're good. And leave people the fuck alone.
Because I mean, honestly, they're number one, we wouldn't be taxed at all because that's not in the first 10 amendments.
No.
But then again, the 10th Amendment says anything that is not subscribed here in this document is up to the states themselves. Now, they're talking about, Republicans want to take away gay rights and interracial marriage. Do you think there is a single fucking state that would outlaw any of that shit? And if they fucking tried, do you understand 2020 would look like a pacifier?
Yeah. But even,
I mean, we've progressed too much to let that happen.
If you look, I mean,
I'm a man. Okay, cool.
It's pretty simple. We're the United States of America, right? We're the United States. So each state is their own technical country. Technically, we're just all united under
the same banner.
Yeah, under a federal principle. So each state should have its own rights. And it's, once again, it's not the 1400s or the 1200s. It doesn't take you, 12 months to go across. If you want to go live in California, go live in California. Well, I can't get I got to work. I work here. Okay. So then vote the way you want to here. And if you don't like it, move. I didn't like it in Jersey. I've always wanted to move. My wife said, you want to move to Kansas? I said, yeah. And here they have a lot of laws I like. They have a lot of laws I don't like. And I try to vote my way into, into the laws I do like. But move. If you don't have the job that you, if you're so unhappy, why are you at this job that makes you unhappy in a state that you're unhappy? You have one life. Once you are
I'll tell you why now.
That is it. Once you're dead, you no longer have, there's no reset button. You don't get to do it over again. That's it.
Yeah.
So you have to do what you have to do to be happy. And right now, to be honest with you, it is probably the fucking best time to do it. Because there's people looking for work all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go work at McDonald's for $14 an hour, which is almost as much as a paramedic makes now.
Which is disgusting as shit, but yes.
So live your life, do what you want to do, and stop complaining. If you're going to complain, you're the problem. Nobody else is the problem. Don't blame anybody else for your shitty life.
Yep. Take ownership, take responsibility. Take your life into your own damn hands. Look, I used to be the same way. I used to blame everybody else for my own shit. And then I realized that was the fucking problem. And now, my wife bought the house before we got married and everything. But because of the economy, we live in an unfurnished, half remodeled house. I'm not going to say unfurnished, but I mean, we're still working on this. We're still building this. We still live comfortably, even after paying $6-7 for a carton of fucking eggs. We still live comfortably. We dug our asses out of poverty, only to be shoved back in. But that's because stupid people vote because their LED God told them one thing. And that goes for everything. I'm not talking about like left, right kind of shit. No, even Fox News is just literally Fox News was calling the Freedom Caucus people that stood up in the vote They called them terrorists. If that is not the biggest clue that even Fox fucking News is, I don't know what to tell you anymore.
I mean, if this Crowder thing doesn't teach anybody anything, it's to teach them one thing. All media is garbage.
Yes.
No matter left or right. They are all in it to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And they will do and bend the knee to whoever tells them, this is what I want you to do. And that's what I've learned over the last couple of years.
Think of what Tucker Carlson would say if he actually took the muzzle off that man. I mean, let's just be honest. He is the most controversial mainstream figure. Think of what that man would say if you took that muzzle off.
Do you imagine what Greg Gutfeld would say?
Dude.
Holy, you want to talk about Tucker Carlson and Jesse Waters. Greg Gutfeld is the man I want to hear completely uncensored.
Oh,
even censored,
he would be me.
Yeah,
basically. Or he'd be worse than me. He'd be worse than me. Let's not even give it that. No,
that's
this
motherfucker. That's why they gave him the 3 a.m. slot.
Because nobody's listening, but yet he still has
the biggest,
bigger fucking audience than CNN.
Yeah, he has at 3 a.m. The man's show is bigger than most networks at 3 a.m. I mean, now he's got the 5, but it was just, I can't imagine that man unmuzzled. But all right, with that, I have to go. It's been fun.
I do too. I gotta fucking work tomorrow, and I'm already drunk as shit. I'm gonna have a hangover. But yeah. What's your final words with this, Davey?
I think I said my final words. Business Party Podcast on YouTube, Rumble, Spotify. Dave, you were Croc earlier. You control. Yeah, I'm controlled by Big Margarine. actually, sir, it was parquet. Thank you, parquet.
Oh,
because it sounds Spanish. That's the only reason my parents bought it. They thought it said porqué.
Country Crock is largely an actual Southern thing. They actually went like nationwide. What was it in the 70s or 80s or something like that? But that was largely like Sundrop. If you don't live in the South, you don't know what the fuck Sundrop is.
No, I don't know what Sundrop is.
Okay, it's like it's like a Mountain Dew.
Okay.
With a more
sugary,
fruity tang to it.
Huh.
But yeah, it used to be a Southern thing, and then they went nationwide. But yeah, go ahead.
So the only thing I'm going to say is, listen, I'm not here to change anybody's mind. I'm just here to open your mind and just see. Just listen. I don't care what side you're on. If you can go, fair point. You're in my eyes a good person. If you just shut down like Kansas Owens and just wait for the person to stop talking and then you start talking, I got no time for you. I really don't. But yeah, that's about it. I'm going to just peter out and just say thanks for watching. I love doing this with you. This is so much fun.
It is.
It is a good time. Fuck them. They don't pick us up. Steven Crowder, give us a call.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is fun. Now I'm gonna go try to snuggle with my wife, who's probably asleep, and another 4 a.m. Yeah. I love you too, baby. But she knows. She knows that I'm having fun.
The couch is always welcoming.
Fuck that! We bought the bed. It's a half and half. Okay. That's what I never understood. The woman's like, get out of my house. What? Your house? We put this together. What do you mean, get out of your house?
Well, if my wife said that, she'd be 100% correct. But
it's your wife. All right, people. It's been fun. It's been real. It's been amazing. Thanks for having me on again, pal. I will definitely see you later.
All right, take it easy. I'm gonna go ahead and finish it off. I'll cut your little
Later.
premiere there.
Later, pal.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate the hell out of y'all. Rumble showing up tonight. Look at that. At the end of it, 48 watching now. Y'all are amazing. You really are. If y'all ever want to have a conversation, look, I'll even put it back up here one more time to end it right there. Email us at yourvoice@startmail.com. Let's have a conversation. As long as it can be, you're not trying to shit sling, and you can actually come to the table in a respectful way. Let's talk. Don't matter if I agree with you or not. At least your voice gets heard. Your voice gets out there, and your ideas hit the platform as well. Even in the smallest way. This is what this is about. This is what all of this is for. So I'll leave you with this. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a voice, and it's important. Please, sit down. Let's talk. I appreciate all of you out there. Y'all have a good night, and we'll see y'all again very soon.